Good morning. In accordance with sections 45 and 53 of the Planning Act, 1990 as amended, this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment of the City of Toronto is called to order. The Committee of Adjustment considers applications for variances from the provisions of the zoning that applies to property, permission to extend or to alter lawful non-conforming uses, and consent to sever property in order to create new lots. I will now proceed to the land acknowledgement. We acknowledge the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. Committee of Adjustment public hearings are now conducted in a hybrid, in-person and virtual format. Some applicants and participants will make their submissions in person, and others will participate virtually by electronic means through WebEx, an online digital platform. The meetings are also streamed on the Toronto City Planning YouTube channel. Anyone wishing to view the hearing may watch on YouTube. Those who wish to participate virtually and who have registered in advance will be connecting via their computer, tablet, smartphone, or telephone. They will have the option of participating via video or audio only. All virtual participants will automatically be muted upon entry. When your item is called, you will be unmuted by the moderator, one person at a time, and we ask that you also mute your devices until you are called upon to speak. Those participating by video appearance will be temporarily upgraded to panelist status when their item is being heard. During this time, your camera will be enabled. You will only be visible during your 5 minutes allotted speaking time. At all other times, your video will be disabled and you will be reinstated as an attendee. Receiving a copy of the decision. People attending the in-person today who want to receive a copy of the decision of the committee on a particular application must fill out a decision request card. Those participating virtually need to submit a written request for a decision by email. Please ensure that you include your name, address, and an email address, because the Committee of Adjustment and the Toronto Local Appeal Body will be sending notifications and updates by email only. If you do not agree with the decision of the committee, you may be able to appeal the decision to the Toronto Local Appeal Body, or in some limited circumstances to the Ontario Land Tribunal. However, the provincial government amended the Planning Act and generally removed rights of third parties to appeal Committee of Adjustment decisions. Only the applicant, the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, and specified persons in public bodies, as defined in the Planning Act, are permitted to appeal decisions. Appeal instructions are set out at the bottom of the decision of the committee. I will call each item in the order that it is listed on the agenda. When an application is uncontested, the agent or applicant may proceed with their presentation if requested by the panel. When the committee does not require a presentation, applicants are to advise the chair should they wish to speak to the committee. The committee may ask questions and/or take the application into committee for a decision. Each speaker, including the agent or applicant, will be given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee. And I'll comment to you as you are approaching the 5-minute mark. Any presentation or other materials you wish to submit to the committee must have been emailed in advance of the hearing. Staff and committee members cannot accept materials at the hearing. When addressing the committee, please clearly state your name and address, and please remember to confine your remarks to the matters outlined on the application. The applicant or agent will proceed first and will make a presentation to the committee if requested. Please note that the committee may not entertain revisions to proposals at the hearing today. The committee may instead decide to defer the application if substantially revised in order to ensure the revised application is accurate and that all those entitled to notice of the application are informed of the changes. Then individuals, either in support of or opposed to the application, will be invited to speak. Generally, we first call on speakers in the hearing room and then those participating through WebEx. Committee members may ask questions of each speaker after they have finished their presentation. When all speakers are finished, the applicant or agent has an opportunity to rebut, but only to those issues that were raised by the speakers. And that will mark the end of discussion. The application will then be taken into committee by the panel for a decision. Are there any declarations of interest by panel or staff with respect to this morning's slot items? Madam Deputy, Secretary Treasurer, have you received any requests for deferral?
Good morning, Mr. Chair and panel members. Perhaps maybe we can go to the minutes first. July 19th, 2023, as well as July 26th, 2023, if those can be adopted.
Okay. Can we do them both at once?
Yep.
Okay. Motion, please. Mr. Byatt, seconded Ms. Chan, to adopt those minutes. All in favor, show of hands, please. Motion carried. Minutes are adopted for those two meetings.
Thank you. So through you, Mr. Chair, there is one item that is requesting to withdraw and close the file. It's item 20. File number is A0515/23TEY. Municipal address is 330 St. Clair Avenue East. So we could probably deal with that item. Trying to see here. We do have 3 opposition speakers, and if they're on the line, then maybe we could just get to them just to let them know that the owner is requesting to withdraw and close the file.
Very good. Okay. We'll come right to that.
And then
And
through
the-
you, Mr. Chair, I don't see any requests for deferral for this morning's items.
Thank you very much. Okay. Okay, then. Let's just check with the moderator then, please. With respect to those registered for item number 20, moderator, can you let me know, please?
Through you, Mr. Chair. The speakers for item number 20 are not present in the meeting as of right now.
Okay.
If you like, I can attempt to call them in throughout the meeting, and then when I have them all in, I can notify you.
So they're not standing.
They're
by
not
this
presently
stage. So in that case, if you would do that, then when you've got them all on the line, just let me know, and we will we'll address that application. Okay. Very good. Okay, then. We can move now to the agenda. Item number 1, 32 ROWANWOOD Avenue. And on this application, the committee has before it the following materials. Those submitted at the time of application: surveys, site plans, floor plans, elevations. There's a cover letter from the agent, May. Presentation materials from the agent, August the 2nd. We have correspondence from Heritage Planning, March, again in July, from Transportation Services, March, and again in August. And there is a staff report from Community Planning, received July 17.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I'm also going to ask our presenter, under the very late materials, we received a comment from SEPA staff. So we'll post that up on the screen. And there's a comment and I believe a recommendation.
Thank you. Is this the first time that panel members will have seen this material?
Yes. So we may also want to ask the applicant if they're aware of this comment as well.
Could you scroll down this, please, so I can see again where it originated? Who's the sender for this? Okay. Thank you. All right then. Thank you, and let's go back to the body of the. Let's ask the applicant to join us first.
Mr. Chairman, Franco Romano, Action Planning Consultants, here on behalf of the owner.
Good morning to you. And as I've just been advised by the Deputy Secretary Treasurer, there's one piece of new material here from City that we in panel are just seeing for the first time, and which I understand you would also be seeing for the first time. So let's have a look at that.
Yes, thank you for that, sir. This is I guess an email correspondence that I did see this morning, earlier this morning, before I attended this hearing. This is addressed actually in my presentation slide materials, and I'm happy to summarize it right now, sir. But before I get into my presentation,
Just a moment, please.
Sure.
Moderator, do we have anyone standing by on this application with respect, who wishes to speak in opposition?
Through you, Mr. Chair, this is the only registered speaker for this item.
Okay. All right then, so, well, Mr. Romano, because this is new, and normally I wouldn't even ask you for a presentation on this particular application, but because this material is new, go ahead and address us, please.
okay, if staff could bring up firstly, I guess slide number 10 of my presentation, please, and zoom in on policy 5A. So SEPA staff are recommending in that email communication that the owner enter into an agreement in order to ensure that the 9 existing rental units in the building remain rental for a period of 20 years. And then they go on in sub B, 1B, to say that the existing tenants shall have free access to the existing amenities within and outside of the building. Now, staff can bring up, I think it's on slide 10, policy 5 of the official plan. The only ability of the city to secure an agreement for rental accommodation is when there is significant new development on sites containing 6 or more rental units, and where existing rental units will be kept in the new development. And it talks about will secure in 5A as rental housing the existing rental housing units which have affordable rents and mid-range rents. And I submit, Mr. Chairman and members of the panel, that staff are overreaching in their email recommendation and communication in 2 fundamental respects. Number 1, the proposal is not significant new development. It is an incremental increase of 1 rental unit within 4th-story building addition. And secondly, and as substantively, the existing rents for those 9 units are neither affordable nor mid-range rents. So staff's recommendation is seeking to secure a rental agreement, which is, in my opinion, an overreach. Now, in terms of the subject, clearly the site is a rental building. It's within a heritage conservation district. It is subject to various city controls. If one wanted to turn it into a condominium, the condominium application would have to be filed. If one wanted to do a significant development on the site, one would have to go through site plan approval. Neither one of those circumstances are proposed or intended by the owner. So I would submit that the recommendation for that rental agreement that staff submitted last night, and I first saw this morning, is inappropriate and should not be attached to any approval. If I can go to slide number 6, I'll walk through the variances. So this is an application that involves a 4th-story addition to an existing apartment building. And there are a number of items shown on this slide 6. We'll see the existing rental apartment building, the building footprint, building setbacks, front yard, the landscape treatment around the perimeter. All of those are existing conditions, and they're reflected in the list of variances that are before this panel today. The existing apartment building use, which is also a variance, is a technical variance. It's obviously an existing apartment building. The height that's being proposed is to permit that one partial fourth floor addition. And that 4th floor addition has been authorized and approved by City Council because it is a heritage conservation district. And we'll see, and it's part of my package, but I'll probably run out of time if I start walking through that. But the council authorized at its meeting of October 27, 28, and 30 of the year 2020, everything that's before this panel today in terms of the building that's being proposed. ERA architects have participated in the Heritage Conservation Plan, and you'll see in the rendering on the lower right where it says 30, 32, and 34, that is a rendering of the 4th floor addition to the apartment building. And we'll see that next door there's a comparable building that has a comparable floor space index, or at least a massing of floor space index. Floor space index is a little smaller at 34 ROWANWOOD. So the proposal is one that is in keeping and actually implements council's approval in 2020. This has been a long road that the owner has gone through in order to renovate and improve this apartment building,
I'll ask you to
maintain
sum
the
up now,
existing
please.
rental. And it's my opinion that the variances that are before this panel are minor in nature and they should be authorized with no conditions. Transportation has accepted the application, as well as Heritage. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Your time is up, and you were precisely 5 minutes. Thank you. Panel
You're welcome.
members, questions for the applicant panel? Mr. Byte, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Chair. I was just going to ask, you described, if I'm not mistaken, I'm not quite sure if I heard you correctly, that the current rentals are neither affordable nor something else. I'm not sure. How would you describe the current rents or rentals in this building?
Thank you for that question, through Mr. Chairman. The rental rates today are towards the high-end rental rate, and that's consistent with the South Rosedale location. So CMHC, Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation, identifies what constitutes low, mid, and high-end rents. So it doesn't mean that it's an exorbitant rental rate. It's just how CMHC classifies those rents, and they are neither low nor mid-range rents. And I think the SEPA comments, if they wanted to secure low and mid-range rents, they would have indicated that in their memorandum, but they are aware that the existing apartments are not low and mid-range rents.
If I may just add another question to that, this may be asking you to speculate, but any sense of why SEPA would have presented these conditions?
I can't speak, thank you once again for that question through Mr. Chair. I can't speak for SEPA's request. Again, I think it's just an overreach and an overly complicated requirement in order to secure what is an existing rental accommodation and to allow for one additional rental unit to occur. There's no guarantee that, and I've seen the agreement and I can't recall off the top of my head, but it's at least a dozen pages. It's a very complicated agreement and it actually does talk about rents. So there's a bit of an unknown as to what that final document may contain, and that's part of the concern.
Okay.
So I'm not sure that I can otherwise speak for what SEPA staff are trying to achieve.
Just following up there, though, but was that topic actually discussed with you verbally during the application process? Is it a surprise to you this morning, or had it come up before?
It is a surprise to me this morning to have that email communication and to not have it shared fully with the applicant in advance. I mean, for me to submit material, I have a deadline of a week in advance of the hearing.
I understand.
This application has its genesis back in 2018 and 2019.
Understood. Okay.
Another question. So there is a significant amount of staff involvement.
Another question.
Participated.
Another question for you. Another question on a different course would be this one. With respect to soft landscaping, you do in your application cite that the figures proposed are actual improvements. Can you tell us how much improvement they are? Well, do you know the current soft landscaping percentages are about what?
There's two landscape variances. The first is landscaping over the entire lot, and that would be about a 10% increase of what currently exists. And then the soft landscaping is basically in the front yard. And if you look at the front yard today, there is about, I would say, probably 20% landscaping in the front today.
Very good.
It's mostly hard surface in the front.
Panel members, other questions for the applicant? Are there any? No, Mr. Granitstein, go ahead.
Yeah, just going back, Mr. Romano, to the SEPA staff report. I just want to know what securing means. Does that mean you got to maintain it as a low affordable housing? It says requires a securing of existing rental units which have affordable and mid-range rents. I understand what you're saying. These are not affordable, and I agree with, or mid-range. I just want to know, for my own knowledge, security of existing rental units. I don't know what that means.
Well, thank you for that question. In my experience, sir, when staff prepare an agreement, and it's through the legal counsel with the contribution from other staff, they will contain clauses in that agreement that will specify what is the rental rate for each unit type. So they will say, for example, there are 3 one-bedroom units, and for those 3 one-bedroom units, the rental rate would be such and so, and that would be prescribed within the agreement. The agreement would be as between the owner and will run on title to successors and the City of Toronto, and that would be how the City of Toronto would secure the rental, the unit type by way of bedroom, and the rents associated with that type of rental unit.
So they wouldn't specify necessarily a rent per se, but they'd say this has to be affordable, and then I think you referred to some place where they actually specify what would fall within an affordable range?
Correct.
Is that correct, sir?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair, that is correct.
All right.
That's my understanding.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any further questions for the applicant? Mr.
Sorry to belabor this. On the same issue, I just wonder, since we've all been provided with this information at a pretty late point in the day, would a deferral be something that you might consider so this can be sorted out prior to being brought to the committee? I'm not sure if that's a reasonable request for you in particular, the agent and the owner.
Thank you for that question. Through you, Mr. Chairman. This is a Committee of Adjustment file that is dated 2021. We are now in August of 2023, and I think it's incumbent upon the City of Toronto to try to accommodate increased rental housing accommodation, and I would be opposed to a deferral. And I have discussed that with the owner, and I don't believe that a deferral is within the public interest in this instance.
Fair enough. Okay, thank you. Ms. Chan, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with the applicant on this because I think that to choose this particular apartment or these units to enter into an affordable agreement, I think that is a little bit far-fetched to me. And the material came a little bit too late to digest. And I do not think a deferral will make this property become affordable or mid-range.
Thank you. Okay. I'm not hearing any further questions for the applicant, so at this stage, let's take the application into committee for discussion and moving toward a decision. So, Ms. Chan, what you've just said is sort of opening the discussion, I think. You feel that it's come a bit late. Panel members, any other comments on this application?
Well, I don't imagine that there are too many apartments that are priced in the affordable housing in Rosedale. So, and they're not designated, the rents are not in that range. And so I agree with the applicant, this is probably an overreach by SEPA. But I don't agree with Zahir that this might be the subject of a deferral. I think we should proceed with the matter now.
Very good. And I must say that's my thought on it too. The SEPA recommendation does appear to have come at a very, very late hour for us to include in our decision. Is anyone then ready with a motion?
I can put a motion for approval. The reason is that I think this is a very good development. It's an existing rental property, and they are just adding another floor. And I do not think, and also they actually make improvement on the site in terms of soft landscaping. And I do not think that it will create extra negative impact to the neighborhood. I think that an extra rental unit in this building is a good development. So I move for approval with no, besides the SEPA, there aren't any other conditions.
Okay.
No conditions.
Thank you.
I move to second.
And that is seconded, Mr. Granstein. So it is therefore moved and seconded to approve without condition. Those in favor, please, show of hands. And that vote is unanimous to carry the motion, and the application is approved. Panel moves on to item number 2. (169) Glenwood Crescent. And on this application, the panel has before it the following. Material submitted at the time of application. There is a 2017 Committee of Adjustment decision which affects the property, and there is correspondence in support in the form of a letter from 136 Glenwood, which would be down the road several houses. Okay. Very good. Moderator, is the applicant with us?
Hello.
Hello, good morning. State your name, please.
Hi, good morning. This is Parisa Amiri. I'm the applicant and agent on this application. My address is 50 Woodville Avenue, East York, Ontario.
Very good. Panel members, do we want a presentation on this application? No. Are there any questions for the agent? I don't hear any. Mr. Granitstein?
Yeah, could the applicant please tell us, was this a mistake in building in which the porch and stairs were wider than they were set out to be?
Yes.
Or required
Yes.
to be?
Exactly. This was a mistake in the building, and we prepared the as-built drawings after the building is completed, and we sent it to be able to close the permit. But this was the variance, and we have to come back to the committee of adjustment. The variance actually and the as-built has been prepared in 2021, and since then, like the owner was very busy with personal stuff, and he was not ready to move forward. And on the other hand, he was contemplating to cut it, but the cost of cutting that 1 foot was a lot. And he decided to come to the committee of adjustment because it's only one variance and like it's only 1 foot.
Okay, thank you. All right then, panel. Let's, I think we're ready to take the application into committee. Mr. Bayek, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. I think this is a very straightforward and minor variance request. There are no conditions attached to this. I'd like to move for approval.
And that is seconded by Ms. Chan. Moved and seconded to approve. Those in favor, please, show of hands. And that vote is unanimous. It carries the motion and the application is approved. We move along to number 3, 795 Shaw Street. And the committee has before it the following: those materials submitted at the time of the application. Let's have the agent join us, please, by stating your name.
Good morning. My name is Tony Henriquez. I'm the applicant. I'm at 543 Concord Avenue, Toronto, Ontario.
Good morning to you. Okay. Panel members, any questions here for Mr. Bayek? Go ahead.
Just a quick one, variance number 2. Could you just speak to that? Is that an existing situation?
Yes, both variants number 1 and number 2 are existing. We're proposing an extension to the 2nd floor and 3rd, and we're going above the same footprint. Unfortunately, those variants already exist. Variance number 1 also exists with the existing part of the house. We're actually, the only new variance is number 3.
And if I may just add another quick question, just for clarification, I think the 3rd floor deck, the privacy screen is already installed, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Okay. Is anyone ready with a motion on this application? Mr. Bayek, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. I think, again, this is a fairly straightforward application, and I'm glad that the privacy screen is already in place, so it's forward thinking on the part of the applicant. I move to approve. There are no conditions attached to this one, as I can see.
Thank you. Is there a second? It is seconded. Mr. Granitstein. Moved and seconded to approve. Those in favor, please show hands. And that vote is unanimous to carry the motion. Item number 3 approved. Item number 4 is 17 Somerset Avenue. On 17 Somerset, the committee has before it material submitted time of application. There are revised plans, 24th of July, 5 photographs from May, and correspondence from the agent, 24 July. There is opposition correspondence from 15A Somerset, 19 Somerset, and 15 Somerset. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chair.
Just a moment. You're here to speak to this application? Could
Yes.
you state your name, please?
My name is Xiao Wei. My area is 70 Northern Crescent, Toronto. I'm the agent on behalf of my client, Tony.
Very
He's
good.
here too.
Please,
Thank you.
is there a seat there? Have a seat. We're going to hear first from the applicant, and then it'll be your opportunity to speak.
Okay.
Okay. So applicant, you have 5 minutes to present your application to the panel. Please go ahead.
Through you, Mr. Chair, that is the applicant.
I am so sorry.
The person in opposition is on standby virtually, though.
I apologize. Go ahead, you have, okay, the person is on standby. Go ahead, you have 5 minutes to present your application.
Okay, my presentation is very brief. Just we speak about the two variants. The number one, the max the building permitted building depth is 17 meters. Our proposed building depth is 20.3 meters. It's 4.13 meters greater than the permitted building depth. Number two, the permitted FSI for this project is 0.69. Our proposed GFA FSI is 0.77. Yeah, that's the two variances. Thank you.
Thank you. Panel members, questions for the, at this stage?
Just one question. I noticed, of course, that you're removing the existing shed in the rear yard.
Yeah.
What's to take its place? It's going to be soft landscaping or something else? I'm curious.
Yes.
So it'll be soft
landscaping,
landscaping? Thank you.
That, sorry.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, I have a similar question. Yes, is it okay with you if we put it as a condition that the space that the shed going to go will convert to soft landscaping?
Yes.
Okay.
Great. No problem.
Okay, let's go now to the person standing by in opposition and have them join us, please, by stating their name.
Oriana, you can unmute yourself.
Okay, can you hear me?
We hear you now. Yes, please state your name.
My name is Oriana Muzzin, and I am the owner, along with Nick Idak, of 15 Somerset.
Very good. You have 5 minutes to explain your concern about this application. Go ahead.
Okay, first I'd like to say that these concerns were outlined in a letter written by myself and Nick Idak, as well as by some owners at 15A Somerset. The main concern I have is that area in the back, there is a right-of-way access to our garages. So it's a right-of-way access, shared driveway. There are 3 garages owned by 15, 15A, and 17 Somerset. And that needs, that is for a turning access, so people can get into and out of their garages. And my concern is that with, initially that was proposed to be landscaped, and it was claimed to be a parking site for 17 Somerset, which was not true. Now that has since been changed, but my concern is that maybe they will start to use that common area as their own area. I just want to ensure that nothing will happen to that common area that will inhibit us from accessing our garages. The other concern I have is that, as was stated by the applicant, the allowable space or the allowable extension is to about 17 meters for the building, and they propose to go beyond that. If they were adhering to the 17 meters, it would be about a 30% increase in the size of their dwelling, but they want to go well beyond that, which amounts to over like a 60% increase in the size of their dwelling, 2 floors. So that takes up a lot of the backyard green space. It also can affect the sunlight coming to the neighbors' properties. So those are the main concerns that we have put forth in our letters.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll begin with the question for you. So the space that you're concerned about that is proposed as soft landscaping, is that, as you read it, is that part of this this right-of-way that you refer to, or is that property, does that property belong to number 17?
No, the area between 17 Somerset and 15 and 15A, there's a driveway between them, and then there's a common area in the back to access our yards. It's shared access by everyone. It's not owned by anyone. It's shared access, right-of-way access. So we want to ensure that nothing happens to that area to prevent us from accessing our garages, having that turning radius.
Thank you, okay. Panel members, other questions for the speaker? Mr. Granitstein, go ahead.
Yes, when you say common area, you mean an area over which all the participants use for getting access to their property?
That's right. It's the access to their garages.
So it's not actually a common area, it's an area in which there are rights of way, is that right?
Yes, I think the term on the deed is right-of-way access or shared driveway.
Yeah.
And turning radius. Yeah.
Okay, so by law, and this isn't part of our mandate, but by law, the applicant cannot block the right-of-way such that it interferes with the purpose for which it was granted, which it was to access your properties. So that's not within our mandate.
Okay.
But you are protected by your deed, and if there's a problem, then you have to see a lawyer about it.
Okay. Okay. Are there any questions about the other part, about the extension being 66% of the actual size of the house?
Well, to tell us about the impact of that, we understand the numerical figure, but what we really think in terms of is the impact. So what is the impact of that extra length going to be?
So what I figure is that it's going to take up a lot of the green space in the backyard, which I'm speculating is why they're taking down the shed. Because now that house will take up so much space that there won't be enough room for the shed. So that's a lot of green space gone. That is also, the building will be 2 stories high, it will be quite tall, so it could block sun or have an impact on the neighbor's view, the neighbor's backyard, especially the one directly to the north.
Okay. Okay. I'll just bring to your attention, your concern is well stated, but if that extension triggered a soft landscaping deficiency in the rear, then it would be of real concern. But there are just the 2 variances that we're dealing with, so clearly the extra length does not in itself trigger a soft landscaping deficiency. Further questions, panel, for the applicant? No. Okay, then, in that case, we can take the application, or we're going back now to the applicant, sorry. This is your opportunity to address those comments, please.
Regarding the first issue for the shared driveway, the right-of-way, you can take a look at the survey for them on the screen. The survey is very clearly, shows the boundary line, and half the driveway is inside our property. So all the proposed addition, everything take place inside the property. So has no problem beyond the property, and no any proposed project beyond go to the shared driveway. That means in our side, half of the right of way. For question number 2, so after the shed will be removed, will be demolished, will be replaced with a new landscape. So landscape, everything will be take place inside the property line. So we are not going to touch anything in the shared property. So the landscape will still comply with the zoning bylaw requirements.
Thank you very much. Panel members, questions for the applicant. Ms. Chan, go ahead.
Just clarify, the proposed landscape area is actually part of the right-of-way, right?
No,
It's
just
not.
inside the property. Looks at the dot hatch.
Oh.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm a bit confused, because if you look at the survey, the right-of-ways actually have an angle, yeah. You see, it cuts right next to your shed, so that right-of-way is actually into your proposed landscaping is actually part of the right-of-way.
Yes, this can be at a condition, we are
Yeah.
going to show the draw very clearly.
And you're not going to put a fence or anything,
No,
but then you
no
will.
landscape, no, in
Yeah.
the half of the way.
So I just try to visualize, so part of the right-of-way will be landscaping and part of it will be main asphalt. or-
Yeah, maybe as is,
Oh, okay.
as asphalt. Yeah.
Let me ask you this, the current practice in the property there with the three of you accessing your garages, do your neighbors, do they need to drive onto that property a little bit in order to make their turn? When they're doing their three-point turn to get out, do they have to back onto the property that we're talking about here in order to do that, or is there ample room to do it without going onto your property?
Sorry, I'm going to ask my.
Is that our neighbors on 3.2 ground?
Only the ladies, once, maybe 10,000 a year.
10,000.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
Very
Very little, only the lady, her husband, when they go vacation, they park a car there. Like, I see a car there, nobody use it, that's a storage, says a parking, the garage, but actually it's storage. The one in the middle is abandoned for many years, nobody use it. It's a tree, now become a forest, it's a one tree there.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay. Any other questions, panel, for the applicant?
Just a quick one. The three garages shown on the site plan in the bottom right, are any of those yours or not?
Just one's ours, the right.
One in the far
Yes.
right, that's yours?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, then, I think we are ready to take the application into committee for a decision. Are there any comments on it, or anyone ready with a motion? Ms. Chan, go ahead.
Yeah, I can make a motion. I think that if you look at the variances, just two, and I consider them minor because this site is very long, and I think that the extra length probably is, it can accommodate this extension. And also, he's not touching the good thing about is he's removing the shed and convert that into soft landscaping. And I think that with considering of the right-of-way or not, that is an improvement. So with that, I think that I'm going to move for approval. And I put that condition that after the shed is removed, the area will be converted to soft landscaping.
Good. That is seconded by Mr. Pyatt. Moved and seconded to approve. Those in favor, please show hands. That vote is unanimous to carry the motion, and the application is so approved.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Number 5 is 1 GIVINS Street. On this application, panel has before it material submitted, time of application, revised plans August the 1st, redlined public notice showing a revised list of variances from the agent August the 1st, photograph of the property May, email correspondence, transportation engineering, transportation services, and from city planning. So, we'll ask the agent to join us now, please, by stating your name.
Yes, my name is Joe Dome, 133 Torresdale Avenue, agent for the owner.
Good morning. Just stand by for a moment, please. Moderator, we're showing another person registered to speak. Is that person standing by?
Through you, Mr.
That would be me as well.
Through you, Mr. Chair, that person going under a different name has just signed on to the meeting.
Has signed on. Yes, okay. And we're not sure whether that person is speaking in opposition or support.
That is correct.
Okay. Can we bring that person into the conversation for a moment, please?
Michael Turney, you can unmute yourself.
Good morning.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I believe we are reaching Michael Turney's voicemail.
So he's not actually with us on the meeting?
I don't believe so.
Okay. All right, then we'll go back to Mr. Dome. And panel members, does anyone want a presentation on this application? Does anyone have questions on it?
I think he had made some revisions on various.
There are some revisions we
Yeah,
need to make sure we have.
8 and 9, and yeah, maybe we can go through those.
We need to be very careful on that. Quite good point. So let's go back to Mr. Dome. Mr. Dome?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to ask you, please, to revise, the redlined items. We want you to read into the record, please, those changes that have been made. If you would do that.
Yes, we'd like to amend the following variances. Variance number 8, revised to 42.8%, which is 4.86 square meters. And variance number 9, revised to 32.8%, 1.86 square meters. And I should note that the landscaping conditions are further improved by adding an additional 8.8 square meters of soft yard landscaping on the city portion of the front yard.
Okay, so that's, that last item you just mentioned, is that covered on a drawing, or is that, how are we going to?
Yes.
How are we going to, so
Yes,
have you
that
submitted?
is included on the site plan.
That's included on the revised site plan which has been submitted?
That's correct.
Okay. Ms. Chan?
Yeah, I have a question to Mr. Chair. Is that on city property, is that kind of, if we pick a condition, can that kind of condition be enforced?
That's a question for you, Mr. Gomez. Is that soft landscaping space city property?
No, it's he's saying that he's going to add 8-point-something meter of soft landscaping, but it's on city property, yeah, in front of the house.
Could you
That's
clarify?
That's in addition to
Yeah.
variance number 8 and 9.
Yes, and he just said that, and then I'm just saying that if we consider that, and it's that kind of condition, how do we secure that? Even though he proposed on his site plan, but it's not his property, can we put a condition, and can that condition be enforced?
Well,
That's my
let's
question.
first of all ask for clarification and comment by Mr. Dome. Mr. Dome, you hear our concern?
Yeah, so this was discussed with planning, and this was planning's recommendation to improve the front yard landscaping and soft landscaping conditions. And so because there's not a lot of space due to the front lot line, then the solution there was to also increase the soft landscaping on the city side.
And what is the surface on the city side now?
So the 8.8 square meters is the soft yard landscaping that is going to be that is proposed on the city side right now.
But it's currently, what is the surface status on that? Is it pavement or soil or what?
It's currently asphalt.
It's asphalt. Okay.
Through you, Mr. Chair. The committee can only approve what's on private land, right?
Mm-hmm.
So anything in addition, they'll have to receive further approvals, right? So we can't tie conditions to the city boulevard, because then it's the city's maintenance at the end of the day, right? So
Yeah,
you
that's
can
my
only,
question.
you can only review what's on the private lands, the subject site. Anything extra that they do, that's in addition to.
Yeah. they might have, I mean, the city might demand an
Sure.
agreement separately from
Yeah.
our decision to do that, but I do not think that we can put a condition.
Okay, no, I understand. So we
Yeah.
do have a
Yeah, so
drawing that
through
revised.
you- Through you, Mr. Chair, you cannot put a condition
Sure.
on city land.
But there is a drawing in the package that shows that as, that city property is being soldered over. Do we need to be
Then that's
concerned
a
about that?
separate agreement approval that the landowner will have to
Fine.
achieve.
Okay. Okay, then. I think I'm clear on what we need to do there then. I'll just basically leave that alone. We're not going to make a condition about it.
I have a question of Mr. Dome. Originally, 8 and 9 provided for no landscaping, soft landscaping or soft landscaping, and we also, and that's been improved. Number 10 provides for no soft landscaping in the rear yard. Is it possible that that can be improved?
So the issue with the rear yard is that there's an existing mixed-use building at the rear that extends behind the subject property and the next 4 dwellings to the north. And this is the reason for the existing proposed FSI and the rear setbacks as well. And basically, it's there's no rear yard to improve the landscaping for. So that's just trying to fit the proposal within the existing building and lot.
Just a second. Staff, could you zoom in on the rear yard, please?
It's butting right up to the building.
Okay.
No yard.
So the buildings
Attached.
abut each other?
So,
And the L shape, that way.
Oh, I see.
So that the entire exterior portion is existing, including all the portions that are pertaining to the variances requested. And so the owner is not proposing to add any massing or variances over the existing condition.
I understand that, but here's an opportunity to improve. So the surface back there now, I'm seeing,
It's a building.
There's no, there's no space there.
there's no space there. Okay,
It's actually
All right.
attached to the other building.
all right, okay.
I have one question, a small question. I'm variance number 9. I think that since we are on this, maybe we can correct. Maybe I'm wrong. My calculation is that the minimum of 75%. The 75% should not be 8.5 square meters because it should be smaller than the required on number 8, right? I calculate that that's 4.25 square meters. So if you're going to revise that, we should have the correct area. You know what I'm talking about? Number 9, minimum was 75%, that 8.5 is wrong, it should be 4.25. If I'm not mistaken. Because it should not be 8.5, because your required front yard landscaping is only 5.67. If
The
you,
front yard
yeah,
area is only 5.67?
the required soft landscaping, yeah. If you read variance number 8, the minimum of 50%, the required one is only 5.67.
Yes.
And then of that, 75% have to be soft landscaping. It should be smaller than 5.67, right? So I calculated it's 4.25. So I think that is good to correct it now.
So Ms. Chen, are you saying on number 9,
Yeah.
that figure of 8.5, which is stating the bylaw, that's a restatement of the bylaw, you're saying it's wrong?
Yeah, it's calculation. It's 75% of the required should be 4.25 square meter.
75% is the bylaw, 8.5 square meters is the measurement.
Its measurement
It's
is.
measurement of this
yeah.
property.
Yeah,
And Yim's
Okay.
seems to be correct because
Yeah.
50% is 5.67 meters.
I think we'd like to change that then to reflect.
I'm pretty sure because.
Should increase the numbers, shouldn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Could you do the calculation, Mr. Doan?
So we would be then 1.86 is the requested, and the minimum under the bylaw would be 4.25 square meters. So that, I believe that would be 43.7%.
your proposed figures are correct. I'm just talking about the front part.
We're talking about the first sentence,
Yeah.
the 8.5 that appears after the 75% in the statement of the bylaw.
Correct?
42.5. Yeah, everything else is correct. It's just the 8.5 is incorrect.
Okay.
So we're going to change that to 4.25.
2.5.
Okay, panel. Is anyone ready with a motion? Mr. Bike, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Joe. I just want to thank Ms. Yen for the corrections as well. I think Ms. Yen's done a good job there. Good
Just
calculation.
math.
I'd like to move a motion to approve the amended application, and the additional condition from planning is to apply as well.
Thank you. Second to that?
Oh, I can second that, yeah.
It is seconded, Ms. Chen. Moved and seconded to approve the amended application. Those in favor, please. Show hands. Vote unanimous. Motion carried. Application so approved.
Oh, actually, I have a question. Too late.
Number 6
Sorry,
is...
through you, Mr. Chair, before we continue. Members, just please be mindful of the microphones in front of you, and just when you're speaking, put them down towards you, just so everyone can hear on YouTube and WebEx. Thank you.
We need to be pretty close, I think, people. Yeah, I think we need to be close. Don, you may want to move yours a bit closer to you.
Yeah, you don't need to be that close, but just make sure it's close.
Okay.
Just talk to the person, right? Okay.
Very good. Okay, number 6, 207 Victor Avenue. And on 207 Victor, the panel has before it the following materials. Those submitted application time, 9 photographs of trees, cover letter from the agent, May. There is a staff report from Urban Forestry, August the 2nd. Let's have the applicant join us, please, by stating your name.
Hi everyone, my name is Jennifer Maestri. I'm a planner with Photon Planning and Design, 174 Spadina Avenue.
Very good. Good morning to you. Okay. Okay, I don't see anyone registered to speak in opposition. Panel members, any request here for a presentation or questions for the applicant directly? Mr. Byatt, please proceed.
Just a couple of questions, please. One is the third floor terrace. From what I can see, I'm not sure what the height there is, and I assume from the drawing number A205 that there's no privacy screen on, I believe it's the east and west sides. Can you just speak to that? If there isn't any privacy screen identified, would that be an issue to have privacy screens on both the east and west sides?
There will be privacy screens provided on both sides, yes.
Is that indicated on the drawing by any chance? I can't quite make out.
I don't believe they're indicated, but we certainly don't have an issue providing them.
Okay, great, thank you. And just the other one, variance number 6. Is this something that can be improved?
I don't have a variance number 6.
Sorry, maybe I've got the wrong number there. It's 5. It's landscaping, soft landscaping, you've got 57.5%. Required is 75. Front yard?
So the proposed variance is for what currently exists today. So currently the property is deficient on required front yard landscaping space. So our proposal just is to maintain that existing landscaping that's there.
I think it's existing, thank you.
Okay, if there are no further questions, is anyone prepared with a motion? Mr. Byatt, please.
Thank you, Chair. This is a fairly straightforward application as well. The only condition I would apply is that the third floor terrace, the privacy screens be applied on the east and west sides to 1.5 meters.
Very good.
And, there's a forestry condition number 1. Thank you. Thank you.
Very good. Second to that, it is seconded, Mr. Granitstein. Moved and seconded to approve. Those in favor, please show hands. Motion carries. Application is approved. Thank you. Number 7 is 323 Gilbert Avenue.
Good morning, committee. Can you hear me? I'm the authorized agent of the owner applicant of 323 Gilbert Avenue.
Good. We do hear you. Please state your name.
This is Abdur Chatney. I'm from Clip Homes. We're located at 20 DeBoers Drive.
Very good. If you'll stand by for just a moment, please, I'm going to read into the record the materials that the panel has before it. They are those plans submitted at time of application. Revised plans, August the 2nd. Arborist report, May. An order to comply affecting the property. Planning rationale submitted August the 3rd by Clip Homes. Staff reports from Urban Forestry and City Planning, both August. There's correspondence in interest or concern from 56 Summit Avenue, 329 Gilbert, and another from 329 Gilbert, Alejandra Battiston. First one was from Kyle Battiston. There's opposition correspondence from 364 Gilbert. So we have the applicant already with us, and we do have speakers. Moderator, do we have speakers standing by?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I have one of the 2 registered speakers on standby.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, agent, you have 5 minutes to present your application to the panel. Please proceed.
All right, fantastic. Again, to everybody present, my name is Abdur Chatney. I'm the authorized agent of the owner and applicant. With me today is Greg GIVINS of Batory Management, who will be assisting in providing planning insights as necessary. If you could please pull up the architectural drawings, I'd appreciate it. And it might lead us to the planning justification report as necessary. On the cover page here, you see the front elevation of the proposed development. On the next page, you've got some views that help paint the picture of how the project functions in the context. I'd like us to turn to the site plan. Thank you. If we could just zoom in a little bit, I'd appreciate it. So the subject site is 323 Gilbert Avenue. It is in the Caledonia neighborhood, west of Caledonia Road and south of Eglinton Avenue West. Currently, there's a single-family bungalow on site. Our team is proposing to erect a 3-story, 4-unit multiplex. The subject site is located just south of the southern boundary of the Caledonia PMTSA station area zone. This is a council-approved PMTSA zone with a planned density of 160 people. Please note, over the last couple of weeks, we've been collaborating with community planning to improve the front yard soft landscaping minor variance. We've modified the proposed front yard patio to a light well, incorporated permeable pavers where possible, and we've proposed tree planting to increase the soft landscaping to approximately 50% from our previous architectural plans, which demonstrated 36%, and at present we have approximately 33%. Additionally, after receiving 2 letters of concern and then again a response from one of the neighbors and 1 letter of objection, the committee can see that we have delivered letters of engagement to concerned neighbors as well as those whose property line is adjacent to 323 Gilbert Avenue. A record of that was filed in the Application Information Center by the planning technician at approximately 12 p.m. yesterday. So in summary, our project team is seeking 3 key variances. There's a variance that we're seeking for building height. The permitted height is 11 meters. We're seeking a variance of 0.6 meters. This is to ensure that we have good, clear floor-to-ceiling heights for the units that are contained within the project. The incremental increase in height will not create any overlook or privacy impacts and shadow and sky view impacts on adjacent properties, and the proposed structure is very similar to our neighbors at 325 Gilbert Avenue, which is a triplex at present. The second variance is for a side yard setback. The required side yard setback is 1.2 meters. We are proposing a side yard setback of 0.5 meters. I'd like the committee to note that it was a little bit less previously, and we had worked with our zoning examiner to study this, as well as from a constructability point of view. The building at 325 Gilbert Avenue is set back a similar amount from the abutting property line. If we can just turn to the site plan again. Thank you so much. Perfect. So as I was mentioning, the building at 325 Gilbert Avenue is set back at a similar amount. We've done a little bit more to provide more space for constructability. The occupants of 325 Gilbert Avenue use their north setback of their property to access their rear yard, while the occupants of our proposed multiplex would only use that 2.2 meter walkway, which is that we've established. There are no windows on the north facade of our proposed multiplex, nor are there windows on the south facade of the existing triplex at 325 Gilbert Avenue. The footprint of the proposed multiplex aligns with the existing building at 325 Gilbert Avenue as well. Now I'm on to the third variance, which is front yard soft landscaping. As I had mentioned, we had been working with community planning with this, and we've done our best to increase it where possible. And when we compare it to the existing condition on site, the proposed development removes an existing driveway, and we are proposing to plant.
I'll ask you to make your final comment
tree.
now, please.
All right, so in summary, the proposed variances pass the 4 key checks of community planning. The project maintains the general intent and purpose of the official plan. It maintains the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw. It is a desirable and appropriate development and use of land and building and structure, and the proposal is minor in nature. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. Moderator, we have a person standing by. We'll ask that person to join us, please.
Neil Dominguez, you have been unmuted.
Hello? Hello, can you guys hear me?
We do hear you. You are with the panel now. Please state your name.
Neil Dominguez, and I live at 352 Gilbert Avenue.
Very good. Mr. Dominguez, you have 5 minutes to explain your concerns to the panel. Go ahead.
All right, thank you, everybody. These comments are also echoed by many residents on the street which do not understand how to submit comments, like in non-native English-speaking areas like this one. There's always going to be a gap between resident concerns and this official process we have here. So the following represents real resident concerns of almost the entire west side of Gilbert across from this property. Using building height numbers alone, 11.0 and 11.6 doesn't sound like a large difference, but the thing to note is 325 Gilbert has a large triangular shaped roof and is only 11 meters tall at the very center tip of that building, sloping down on either side. This proposed building will be much taller visually across its entire width by being 11.6 meters, resulting in a much different look and a much larger overall increase than 0.6 may initially seem, as it was sold by the previous speaker. And the thing is, large ceiling heights and a raised basement for increased light is a positive thing, and those should remain priority for tenants, obviously. Therefore, perhaps a 3-story building makes more sense and flows with the neighborhood better from a size and density POV, while still increasing housing and not contravening any bylaws. Secondly, the minimum required side yard setback of 1.2. I mean, that serves as a buffer between neighboring properties. There's no reason that can't be followed. Thirdly, while permeable pavers aid with draining, they fail to safeguard green areas, promote biodiversity, and enhance the overall aesthetic appeal of the neighborhood, especially 75% versus 39%. The tree is great, but the rendering on the front of the presentation has added much more greenery than the area actually has. I believe it's a different document than this that has that rendering. It just shows how sorely real greenery and bylaw enforcement is needed in the area, as building upon building here has encroached that. And Clips Homes' own deck states that not many houses have green space in front, so we need your help to get there. Not mentioned in any document is the absence of parking spots in a 4-unit, 12-bedroom building, and that is very troubling for everybody, utmost concern. This neighborhood already faces parking issues with reports of vandalism and threats due to parking conflicts. Moreover, city services such as plows, street sweepers, etc., have been affected by this. And multiple contractors for the property have already been double parking, such as renovators, realtors, landscapers, and in one case, even being warned by police to move, only to move back once the police left, which, again, just leaves people in the area not wanting to participate when they don't feel like enforcement is on their side. David down the street added legal parking spaces to an existing building, so it is disheartening to witness a brand new building that includes less than 1 spot per unit. It obviously can be done. Multiplexes are fantastic for responsibly increasing density, but currently this is an apartment building and no other building nearby looks like this cold apartment building. We firmly request that you reconsider granting the requested variances, and it is crucial that the developer incorporates the necessary parking and complies with existing regulations to promote fairness and a sense of community. A quote from their own deck: "We've developed a platform of multiplex models and solutions compliant with planning policy and building codes that guarantee efficient implementation of housing projects." So why does this proposal have 0 parking and is non-compliant with multiple bylaws? They state flexibility, and so that suggests compliance is feasible, and starting from 0 parking is not fair negotiation. The presentation boasts spacious layouts, but these units have a 17 feet by 17 feet area that is expected to house a kitchen, dining, and living room. My current tiny 1950s unrenovated house has a larger area than that for kitchen, living, dining. And since my house is the smallest in the area, no house in this area will have, or unit in this area will have one as small as these layouts. So other than maximizing rental income, what is the logic of cramming so much into a non-compliant building? We are not against rebuilding the site, but we can't help but worry because with the wealth of knowledge and shiny proposals with fictional greenery, how is it that current owners and previous owners, and it doesn't matter who, this property is just the way it is, how come they did not know a permit was required to demolish the garage structure? And if others have mentioned in notes like Alejandra, previous tenants were forced out against their will and lived in a home with many disgusting issues that went unresolved. And we know because we live here and we were all friends with her. They were a young single mother with 2 daughters in school and they were forced to leave all their friends. It is either gross negligence or a lack of respect for all parties involved. Either reason does not suggest that any leniency should be given to the variances on this property. It also seems the property is sold, so any changes should have no impact on its sale price and profit of its existing owner. None of the people making money
I'll
from
ask
this-
you to make your final comment now, please.
Yep. None of the people making money from this live in this area, and this area looks the way it does due to lack of enforcement. And using bad examples like 325 Gilbert beside it on the street doesn't help. So we ask you guys to please make it right for those of us that live here.
Thank you very much. Panel, questions for this speaker? Ms. Chan, go ahead.
Yes, I have one question because I sort of be confused as you mentioned the height problem besides the visual part. But I want to focus just on the variances. Number 1, you mentioned that the increase of 0.6 meter will affect all the residents around this property. Can you tell me exactly how does it affect the negative impact on in the neighborhood for that 0.6 meter length? Yeah.
Well, 1, it looks like an apartment building. It doesn't have like a homely look. And 2, most importantly, is just that I'm just stating that it doesn't, like, when it's being sold as, oh, it's just 0.6 more, I'm just trying to bring out that as a person who lives here, it is much more visually than 0.6 because it's going to be completely rectangular from left to right, right? The property they keep referencing, which again is not a great property in this area, and they're just trying to duplicate it, is 11.0 at the tip. For like 1 centimeter, it's 11 meters tall. They want 11.6 across the entire width of the building. So I'm just stating that that's a pretty different, I just want everyone to consider that that is very different than what it initially sounds like. I know because that's what it was when I first read it, right? I was like, oh, 0.6, that's nothing. And then I read it and I was like, oh, this is quite different. So I'm just trying to shed light on that.
Oh, you just say that it's already 11, they can build up to 11 meter. It's already very high. And then adding another 0.6, about 2 feet. Then it's just too high, right? That's what I'm trying to say. What does it just besides the visual part of it? What does it? What is the real impact?
Well, that's what we're talking about when we're talking about height, is the visual impact of it,
That's
right? So
the
I'm not
visual
sure.
impact. Okay, thank you. You confirmed it's just a visual impact, okay. And no shadowing, you don't think that it will create negative
Well,
shadow?
of course, visual is shadow too, right? Everything that comes with that, of course.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Panel members, other questions? I have one for you with respect to, sorry, Don, were you going to? Minor variance number 3. You, at 39%, where 75 is required, you are dramatically shy of the mark. Can you explain to us why that is and why it cannot be improved? Hello, applicant.
Hi, thank you. I was just unmuted. As I had mentioned, we actually, this may have, just want to confirm that
before,
this is the correct.
Good. Okay, go ahead. Sorry. Go
Okay,
ahead.
great. Thank you so much. Just before I begin, just confirming that this is the right site plan, and it does show that. So again, just as a quick summary, when we first filed for committee of adjustment, we had 36% front yard soft landscaping shown. The existing front yard soft landscaping is 33%. In our most recent submission, which was last week, we have demonstrated an increase to 50% soft yard landscaping. Everywhere else, we are proposing permeable.
Slow down. The notice as the panel is dealing with it shows 39.6. You just mentioned the figure 50. You've confused me.
Correct. I apologize. Given that this was a improvement to the minor variance, community planning let us know that we do not need to revise the zoning review.
Now, you've got me really confused now. The public notice shows 39.6. You just mentioned the figure 50. Let's deal with that.
Correct.
What is the correct figure that you want to show in number 3?
50.
50, okay. Very good, that is an improvement. And could you tell me, please, what 50% would represent in meters squared?
50% in meters squared, just give me one moment.
Take your time and do the calculation, just take your time.
That would be 19.4 meters squared.
19.4. Thank you. Okay, so we are amending the application now. Variance number 3 is now going to read 50% and 19.4 meters squared. Thank you for that. That is a substantial improvement. Panel members, other questions? Ms. Chan, go ahead.
I thought that we have to ask him to respond to the opposition's comment.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for reminding me of that. Thank you very much for reminding that. Okay. I've been reminded by colleagues that you do have an opportunity to respond to the concerns raised by the speaker who spoke in opposition. This is your opportunity to do that now. Go ahead, please.
Thank you so much, and sincere thank you to our neighbor who has brought forward some concerns. I just wanted to summarize the concerns in a couple of line items. So if we could just turn to the architectural set in this section, I'd like to address the building height. Sorry, the section, correct. So the section currently shows 9-foot clear dimensions in the heights. It's actually going to result in 8-foot clear after we've taken into account all the kind of ductwork that goes into a unit. So these are very standard 8-foot clear units. We've done as minimal as possible to keep the height as tight as we can to result in very high quality units. So that is one aspect of the building height. Additionally, given that housing is taking so long to build and there's so many issues just with the construction industry, Our aim is to employ panelization where possible to streamline the construction for minimal disturbance to the neighbors. So that's our response on the building height. Parking is a concern that we have seen across letters from neighbors and also as we heard from the neighbor today. Just wanted to outline a couple things here. In December 2021, City Council adopted zoning bylaw amendments that removed minimum parking requirements for new developments. Per the press release distributed by Mayor John Tory and Chair of Planning and Housing Committee Anna Bylaw back then, mentioned that the bylaw propels Toronto forward as it works to meet aggressive targets that address environmental sustainability, reducing greenhouse gas emissions, improving livability for residents, and creating healthier communities. The bylaw encourages residents to use alternatives to the car, such as walking, cycling, taking transit, etc., which lessens traffic congestion. The subject site, 323 Gilbert Avenue, is located just south of the Caledonia PMTSA zone. Caledonia Road, which is located east of the subject site. There's a 47 Lansdowne bus that travels along Caledonia Road, but stops at Caledonia Road and Summit Avenue. And the 47 Lansdowne bus can connect us to 512 St. Clair streetcar line, the Lansdowne station on line 2, and of course the upcoming Eglinton LRT. Additionally, front yard parking is not supported by community planning and it would impact the front yard soft landscaping. So this was the best solution to bring housing units to market. In aspects to green space, multiplex units share a fantastic backyard, which is only possible if you can afford to purchase an expensive single-family home. I myself am a renter in a missing middle building, and I know I could not experience housing if it didn't exist as multiplexes. I would have to buy a single-family home, which, for example, I don't have the funds for. So when you compare to the existing conditions on site, the proposed development, which removes the existing driveway from the front yard, plants a new tree, represents a net increase in both soft landscaping and tree canopy on site, and also multiplexes are just a great housing option to enjoy green space when you compare it to the typology of high-density mid-rises and towers. We also heard a concern from, sorry?
Go ahead. I'll ask you to wrap up now, please, shortly. Go ahead.
Yeah, correct. So there was one comment that was made by the speaker a moment ago, but also a comment we heard from neighbors, which is the commitment to affordability and inclusion. The transformation of single-family homes into multiplexes allows more people to have access to neighborhoods where previously you would have to purchase a single-family home. So the multiplex bylaw, our work with it, along with our planner, Greg Ewins, who's on the line and can answer other planning questions, demonstrates that we're championing this housing type, and we would love the support of the committee.
Thank you very much. Okay. Panel members, are there any further questions, or can we move to a motion now on this application? Let's go to a motion. Mr. Byatt, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. I think before us we have basically three variances. My concern initially was variance number 3, but I'm glad to see that there's this has been amended to 50%, so that certainly is great. I was also concerned about the rear balconies and privacy issues, but I noticed on both the side elevations, the south and the north, that these are already in place. So I'm glad to see that there's forward thinking again in this particular application. The look of the property from the front, I think we're seeing this sort of design becoming very common in this city. It may not fit in with what's existing, but that's the nature of change in our city. The variances themselves are quite minor from my perspective, so I'm quite happy to support this application as amended. And there's planning condition number 3.
And there's 2 conditions from the staff report.
Okay, sorry, I must have missed that. Is that the planning condition?
That's the question to the applicant. The earlier the staff report, one of the conditions is that is the pavers in the front yard. Is it? Do they mean the walkways? the new walkway, because you don't have very much of a light well anymore. You have reduced that, right?
Correct. So we used to have a front yard patio. That was reduced to a light well after conversation with community planning. And where possible, even in the drawings, we've proposed permeable pavers, and we will, find the product that will ensure, that the water during seasonal change moves slowly to soil. So we understand and are happy to support the conditions set out by community planning.
Thank you.
And,
Okay.
so I will tie it to the
So,
revised site plan.
Yes.
Yeah.
And as Ms. Chan just mentioned, tied to revised site plan. Thank you.
Okay, that is seconded. So the amended application is moved and seconded to approve the amended application subject to that staff report. Those in favor, please, show of hands.
And
Motion
tie-
carries.
And tied to the site plan, the revised site plan. The-
Pardon-
yeah.
Pardon me. Let's add that and tied to the site plan. Motion carries, and the application, the amended application is so approved.
Mr. Chair, can
Yes.
we take a health break?
Yes, we can. So at this stage, let's take a 10-minute recess, and we'll return at 10 minutes past 10.
11.
We shall return at 10 minutes past 11, pardon me. Actually, about 12 minutes past 11, sorry.
I'm fine. I still have lots. I have also coffee, yeah.
We resume on item number 8, 244 Greenwood Avenue. And on this application, the panel has before it those materials submitted at the time of application. Plus, there are photographs of the property from May. There are supporting materials from the agent, August the 4th. In support, 2 letters. Form letters from 32 Bloomfield Ave and 242 Greenwood Ave. So we shall ask the agent to join us, please, by stating your name.
Hi, good morning. My name is Alex Groisman from 34 West Overhill Road.
Good morning to you. Panel members, questions now for the applicant? Anyone wanting a presentation? No? No? No questions? Is anyone ready with a applicant? Anything you wish to tell the panel in particular?
No, unless you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Very good. Okay, I'm not hearing any. So anyone ready with the motion? Ms. Chan, go ahead.
Yeah, I can move this one. I think this is a straightforward application, the 2 variances, and both of them, I consider them minor. So I move for approval with no conditions here.
Thank you very much, and that is seconded by Mr. Byatt.
Thank you.
Moved and seconded to approve. Those in favor, please show hands. Vote unanimous. Motion carries. Application is approved. Thank you.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I tried getting the registered speakers on the line for item number 20, the file that was requested closure. I haven't been able to get in contact with any of the registered speakers, nor the owner, nor the agent.
Okay.
If you're willing to entertain the closure now, you can do so.
Can we don't need them particularly to close the file, do we, if they've requested it formally?
Through you, Mr. Chair, that's correct. The request came in formally from the applicant. I'm assuming that every word got around, and that's why we're not able to connect with anyone.
Okay.
And why no one is actually connecting, because they know it's going to be withdrawn and closed, so yes.
Okay, then. Moderator, so do we have anyone, there's no one standing by at this stage for number 20?
So we do have one person here in person, and he was just wanting to observe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good morning to you. Okay. Okay. Well, why don't we address that one now and see what happens? Okay. So, panel members, with respect to number 20, which is 330 St. Clair East, a request has been made to withdraw that application. Is anyone ready with a motion on that? Ms. Chan, go ahead.
Motion to close this file.
Is there a second? It is seconded, Mr. Byatt. It is moved and seconded to withdraw and close item number 20, 330 St. Clair Ave. Those in favor, please show of hands. That motion is carried by a unanimous vote, and the application is so closed and withdrawn. Thank you. Okay. Okay, then now let's go to number 8.
9.
I beg your pardon, number 9.
Through you, Mr. Chair, for this item, the agent is not on the line. I've tried contacting them multiple times. Oh, he's in person. I did not know that. Okay. Never
Very
mind.
good. All right. We were showing you as attending virtually. So the fact that you're here in person is even better.
I'm sorry for the confusion. Yeah, I
Very, very good, okay. Just one question, moderator. We do show a person registered to speak.
That person is not on the line, but I'll attempt to call them in while the agent gives their deputation.
Okay, so, let's just go, because that'll determine whether or not we need a presentation. So if you could call that person and see if you get a response. We'll just stand by for a second to see if we have someone speaking or not. I can read in the meantime the materials into the record. Committee has before it those materials submitted time of application. Cover letter from the agent, May 23rd. There's an arborist report, cone and master tree and shrub, May 23rd. There is a transportation justification letter from the BA group, May 23rd. And there is a site-specific zoning bylaw that affects the property. In comment, we have an urban forestry report. So we'll just see now if we have anyone standing by to speak.
Through you, Mr. Chair, the person has not responded to our phone calls.
Okay. Okay, in that case then, good morning to you. Would you state your name, please?
Good morning, yes, I'm Benjamin Hoff. I'm a planner and a partner with a firm called Urban Strategies at 197 Spadina Avenue. I'm the agent for Toronto Metropolitan University.
Thank you very much. Okay. Glad to have you with us, panel members. Does anyone require a presentation? Does anyone have questions for the agent who's here with us?
Quick question.
Go ahead then, Ms. Chan first, Mr. Granitstein second.
Don first.
Done.
Yeah, from that side. Okay, very quick, just to clarify, maybe I'm mistaken. I have heard that once you got a site-specific bylaw, and within 2 years, you cannot change it again? Is that correct? I heard that before.
Yeah, I think we're just at the cusp of the 2 years, but there was a council decision to allow minor variances in advance of the 2-year timeline. So that decision was approximately 1 year ago, I believe.
Oh, in that case, is that going to be like a formal request to the council to allow that? Is that how?
The council, the request was made and approved by council.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I think that is very good education for us to know a formal process to this, because we receive a lot of this within 2 years they come and ask for.
So through you,
revisions.
Mr. Chair, I can confirm that
Yeah.
that requirement is no longer needed. Yes.
Oh, not the 2
So,
years.
Not the 2 years.
Oh, they immediately can come and.
In the past it was, and they would have to seek a motion through city council to allow the applicant to come to committee of adjustment, but that no longer applies. Or else we would have caught this.
I thought that was the case, but I wasn't too confident.
Yes,
I knew we
yes.
had the council decision to
Yes,
support
there
it,
would
too.
have had to, yeah, so.
Oh, so that is a part of the formal process. They have to go approach council first, and then we will.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
I'm sorry,
In the
I got
past,
confused. Okay.
so in the past, it was
Mhm.
that if they were amending a bylaw within the 2 years, that
Mhm.
they would require a council motion to get
Mhm.
passed from city council to allow them to seek the variances through committee of adjustment. That no longer applies, so they can just come straight to committee of adjustment.
Oh, okay, and this is your case?
Not really in our case, but yes, it would apply regardless. We did have council approval, but that was before one of the many changes to the planning system that has happened since then.
Mr. Granitstein.
Yeah, just a point of clarification. The purpose of the application is to construct a new 14-story building. Then it says the 15-story will be used for mechanical equipment. I would have thought that it was a 15-story building, which included the mechanical. Is that correct?
Through you,
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, we don't include the mechanical as a floor level.
They should not call it 15, they should call it penthouse.
Okay.
So the mechanical penthouse is not considered a story. If they were to wrap the mechanical penthouse in residential units, then it would be considered an additional story. But in this case, it's not considered an additional story.
Okay.
And a small item, with respect to the public notice, and just curiosity, it shows the owners as Her Majesty the Queen in right of Toronto. Is that because that's what the record says, or because, should we change that to His Majesty the King, or should we leave it the way the record might have stated?
Yes, I think that would have to be changed. I'm not sure exactly when the application the original application came forward, but yes, that should be His Majesty the King.
Very good, we can make that change. Okay. Any further questions for the applicant panel? I'm not hearing any. So in that case,
Yeah, I just,
go ahead.
paragraph number, variance number 1, okay. I have trouble reading all these diagrams, et cetera. So in variance number 1, you say the new building will have a height above the maximum permitted height as shown on revised diagram 3. So what is the old height, and what is the new height?
Perhaps, I had prepared a small package of materials in support of this, and if we pull that
Go
up
ahead.
and just go to
Go ahead.
page 6 of of this document, yes. So what this shows here is the approved zoning height and setback map on the left, and on the right, the revised proposed height and setback map. Because it's a complex site-specific bylaw, it's required to have an updated map. And so you can see the areas of proposed height change, including at the northwest corner, the increase of 4.1 meters to 35.1 meters. And then the main portion of the building, the uppermost height, which is the 14-story plus mechanical, is a total of 82 meters. So that includes the 14 stories plus the mechanical floor. But in addition to that, because it's a science building with a lot of exhaust requirements for laboratory facilities, it has certain mechanical projections over and above that, which is the fourth variance, which is an additional 3-meter projection for flues and chimneys and that kind of thing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Panel, further questions?
No, I don't have a question.
If any, then let's take the application into committee for a motion, please. Ms. Chan, go ahead.
Oh, okay, I think it's very clear. I'm so sure that they have to go through a SPA process too. So a lot of detail will have been worked out through that process. So what they're asking for, I think with the big scheme of this big building is minor. And their forestry condition number 2 and 3. I will include that in my proposal for approval.
Thank you. Seconded, Mr. Granstein. Moved therefore and seconded to approve. Those in favor, please show of hands. And that vote is unanimous to carry the motion. The application is approved.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. That takes the panel on to item number 10. 13 Humbert Street. On this application before us are application materials, 5 photographs of trees, arborist report, revised plans, August 4th, and a revised arborist report, August 4th. There was comment from city planning and staff reports from urban forestry and from transportation services. There is support correspondence from 58 Brookfield Street. And there is correspondence in interest or concern from 67 Brookfield. Moderator, let me just check with you. We have someone standing by in opposition. Very good. Let's have the agent then join us, please, by stating your name.
Hi, my name is Austin Emino. I'm the designer and agent for the owners of 13 Humbert Street. And my address is 82 Formosa Drive in Richmond Hill.
Thank you. Very good morning to you. You have 5 minutes now to present your application to the panel. Go ahead.
Yep, so we're proposing to construct a two-story laneway suite on the property. In order to achieve a functional suite, we're seeking relief from the zoning bylaw for minor variances. So we connected with planning staff and they have no concerns regarding our proposal. We also saw that transportation staff have no concerns either. In terms of urban forestry, we are looking into submitting for a potential tree injury permit for the magnolia tree at 67 Brookfield Street. And right now we're looking at a very minor encroachment into the tree protection zone, but we'll work with urban forestry on that. So we've done a substantial amount of work with the owner, Ben Walmsley, which I believe is here today to speak. So he kind of sent his letter in August 1st, which is when we are still discussing changes with him. So that's why you see the updated drawings and arborist report that we sent in August 4th. So his letter doesn't account for those documents yet. But what we've done is revise the footprint of our laneway suite to not jog around his garage. And we adjusted the wall along the south property line, which is along his side of the property. So this maintains 67 Brookfield's garage how it is, and also the fence in their backyard. So outside of that, we also talked to other neighbors in the area. We got verbal support from 8 Humbert Street, which is kind of across from us, and then 61 and 65 Brookfield Street, which are just a couple houses south of us. And we left letters at all the other neighbors and didn't receive anything back from them, so we believe they're supportive of our proposal. So what we're hoping for from committee today is that our variances are approved as noted in the zoning notice, but tied to the latest plans we submitted on August 4th. And we're fine with the condition to look into a potential tree injury permit for the neighbor's tree. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Panel members, questions for the agent? Let's go then to the person standing by it and hear from them.
Ben Walmsley, you have been unmuted.
Good morning.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Hear you well now. State your name, please.
Yes, my name's Ben Walmsley. I am the father of the owner of 67 Brookfield Street, Robert Abel Walmsley. I'm his representative, and I live at 162 Crawford Street.
Very good. You have 5 minutes to present your concern to the panel. Go ahead.
Well, as the applicant just made clear, we've actually been in discussion, conversation, and they've been quite accommodating. They've removed 2 of my major concerns, and I think I'm close to, I've got nothing against laneway houses per se, but the variance about the length of the building will result in a 16 by 20 foot wall, roughly speaking. That's 5 meters by 6 meters, that where there was no wall before. Fortunately, it's to the north of our backyard, but it is kind of an intrusion, and it does sort of encroach, as the applicant says, on the tree protection zone. It's nice to hear that urban forestry has supported the tree protection, and that they will work with the development, if it goes ahead, to make sure that this tree survives, because it will be the one thing that stands between us and a rather large new building and a very tall wall. So I don't know if it's possible for us to see or to hear what Urban Forestry's comments were. I see.
urban forestry simply lays out the procedures that need to be followed to get their final approval. And I'm not sure if the staff report is more specific than that, is it?
Well, I think one of the accommodations that the design team has was to recognize that the size of the tree, it's a very mature tree, and
Sure.
it needed a 2.4 meter tree protection zone. There is a bite out of the tree protection zone, and the zone itself is rather, sort of irregular in the shape of its fenced barrier. But I'm willing to accommodate as long as the tree is protected. And I think, with so many arborists and urban forestry involved, I'm hoping that it'll be safe.
Yes, if committee was to approve the application, we would be making it conditional upon urban forestry being fully involved in the way that they always are in those cases. How about the additional length? The length. As of right, they can build 10 meters, but they're asking to build 11.78 in length. How does that impact you?
Well, I mean, it's a very large wall to the north, roughly the area of 10 sheets of plywood. It seems to me all of my problems would be solved if it shrank back to fall outside of any encroachment of the tree protection zone. Probably that would mean problems for the design of the building. But it would reduce the impact of being boxed into the north, because we have views, and I imagine it's going to be essentially an unadorned wall, just 5 meters by 6 meters of black aluminum siding. So then nobody would be thrilled to have that, but at least it's not shading our garden.
Okay. All right, then, thank you very much. We can go back now and give the agent a chance to respond and comment on the concerns you've raised. Agent?
Yes. Yep. Yeah. So just to kind of looking at the site plan, so like the length is 11.78 meters, but that includes the balcony, which is towards the east side of the lane. So if we look at the building footprint from exterior wall to exterior wall in itself, we're proposing 11.21 meters. So really, we're asking for 1.21 meter encroachment towards the rear yard, the west side. So whether it was 10 meters or 11.21 meters, there'd still be a big wall along the north side of 67 Brookfield's property. So we feel like the massing difference wouldn't really change whether complied to the length or we were approved for this additional length, which the additional length in itself helps make a functional 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom unit inside the laneway suite. And then in terms of the tree protection, we are looking at an alternate foundation design where we might not need to encroach the tree protection zone at all and kind of fully protect it to its 2.4 meters extent. So that's something that we'll be working on with urban forestry should this be approved.
Very good. Panel members, any questions for the agent? Okay, then. I think in that case, we're ready to take the application into committee, moving toward a motion. Mr. Byatt, please go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. I think this is despite the length that's been discussed earlier, I think it's a reasonable proposal given the location of this particular site. I don't think there are any particular variances that are problematic with regard to the concerns regarding the tree. Forestry has got a condition, forestry number 2 condition. Outside of that, there are no other conditions. Transportation has no objection either. So I'd like to move approval of this application with forestry number 2 as a condition. I believe there are revised plans as well.
Yes, thank you. Subject to, yeah, the revised plans of August 4th, yes, tied to those. Mr. Granitstein is seconded.
Second.
So it is therefore moved and seconded to approve, subject to forestry. Those in favor, please, show of hands. That vote is unanimous. The motion carries, and the application is approved, subject to forestry. Thank you. Panel moves on to number 11.
Sorry, through you, Mr. Chair, you were also tying it to plans? for
We are tying
Yes,
it to the
okay,
revised
thank
plans
you.
of 4th of August,
Yeah,
yes.
thank you.
Number 11 is 247 DUNVEGAN Road. And on this application, panel has before it those materials submitted at the time of application. There are 2 photographs of trees from May, and there is email correspondence from Transportation Services received August the 3rd. And Agent, good morning to you.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, panel. My name is Marco Ferlani, the authorized agent for 247 DUNVEGAN Road.
Could you give us your address, please?
My address is 3500 Ash Road, Crescent.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, very good. So you are speaking, Marco, on behalf of the owners, but they're not here this morning.
Correct. They're listening online.
Very good. Okay. All right then, panel members, there's no one in opposition. Any questions for you? Mr. Granitstein first, Ms. Chan second.
Yes, variance number 1 results in the reduction of an existing parking space. I would imagine on Dunvegan Road that they might be able to find a parking space on the property?
Yes, actually, the driveway and the parking pad to the rear can easily accommodate 8 vehicles, as well as we're going to take this as an opportunity to implement multiple charging stations for future considerations.
Thank you.
Ms. Chan, your question.
My question is, maybe you have already considered that the variance 2, it seems to be a big increase. Is it very normal in the area?
Yeah, it's quite normal. There's actually
FSI, yeah.
there's a considerable amount of construction in the area. Almost every 3rd house has been grounded and rebuilt. So as it goes for what's happening in the neighborhood, this is quite minor. The house actually is still very original to its original construction, and the construction is going to take that into consideration, as we're just really closing up the garage opening, and it's going to be closed up with the same facade similar to what's already existing.
Okay. Wait, so I can move.
Please, go ahead.
Okay. I have no problem with this proposal, and I think that it is true in this area they have very large lots, and then I think the FSI is probably quite common. And transportation have no problem with the reduction of parking, so I will move for approval with no conditions.
Thank you. And that is seconded by Mr. Byatt. It is therefore moved and seconded to approve. Those in favor, please, show of hands. Motion carries. And the application is approved.
Thank you very much, and just say hi to my kids watching Dad work from home. Have a great day.
Panel moves on to item number 12, 63 Maria Street, where we are looking at those materials submitted at the time of application, plus we are looking at a 2013 Committee of Adjustment decision that affected the property, and there is support in the form of an 8-signature petition signed by owners and occupants at 50, 52, 61, 65, and 69 Maria, plus 3166 Dundas West. So we'll ask the agent to join us, please, by stating your name.
Hi, my name is Bevan Gray. I am the designer and applicant for 63 Maria Street. My address is 210 Hyde Park Avenue, Toronto.
Good morning to you, and very good, okay. Panel members, any questions for this agent? Mr. Byatt, go ahead.
Just one quick one with regard to the third floor deck. I think it's on the east and west sides. I think it might require privacy screens, if I'm not mistaken, when I looked at the drawings. Would that be something that is already in place?
If you look at the site plan for the existing buildings, the actual third floor deck is recessed behind the rear wall of both properties on either side.
Okay. So there's no overlook issues with neighbors?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I should tell you, applicant, if you have your voice is a bit distorted. Perhaps you've got more than one device working. You're getting some feedback, but we do hear you. It's a little bit difficult. Any other questions, panel, for the applicant? Not seeing or hearing any. Okay. All right then. I think we can take this application into committee for a decision. Mr. Byatt, please proceed.
Thank you, Chair. I think this is, again, a fairly straightforward application, and my one concern was the privacy screens, but as the agent has explained, I think the deck is set back a bit, so there's no overlook issue, so I'm quite happy to move motion to approve with no conditions.
Thank you. And that is seconded, Ms. Chan. It is therefore moved and seconded to approve without condition. Those in favor, please. Vote is unanimous. Motion carries. Application approved. Panel moves along to number 1326 MACLEAN Avenue. We have those materials submitted when the application was opened. There are 2 photographs of trees, and there is email correspondence from Transportation Services, August 3rd. I beg your pardon, I've read the wrong materials. Pardon me. I'm going to read the materials once again. I'm getting the materials for this application, 26 MACLEAN. Here we have application materials. There is an arborist report, May 30th. Presentation materials from the agent, August 1st. Staff reports from Urban Forestry and Community Planning. Support, 5 form letters. 18, 20, 24, 27 MACLEAN, plus 25 Selwood. And in opposition from 57 MACLEAN, 15 Selwood, and also 12 Selwood. And I'll just check with the moderator if we have registered speakers standing by.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we have the 1 registered speaker in opposition on standby.
Thank you very much. Okay. Okay, let's have the agent join us, please, by stating your name.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I see 2 agents for this file, so it'll either have to be Michael Goldberg or Leo Massandrea.
Right. We'll ask the agent to join us, please, and state your name.
Mr. Chairman, my name is Michael Goldberg from Goldberg Group, 2098 Avenue Road in Toronto, and I'll be speaking to this matter.
Terrific. Very good. You have 5 minutes to address your proposal to the panel. Please go ahead.
If I could just have the presentation put up onto figure 4 right away. And while that's being done, I'm the planning consultant, members of the panel for this application. Listening in are the new owners of the property, Dominic and Nicole. They're a young couple who basically want to put on the 3rd floor or the partial 3rd floor to enable an additional bedroom. This is quite a small house today, the 2-story home with 2 bedrooms of about 10 by 10 in the second floor, and they want to add a third floor to allow a master bedroom area. This is a second application on this matter. The first application was in April of this year. It was refused. The neighbor to the north had concerns about the terrace, and I can indicate to you that the terrace has been revised by shifting it southerly 3 feet and by allowing for, as community planning are asking, opaque screens. And the owner to the north is now supportive of the application. And so all owners surrounding the application are now supportive. I can tell you between the last application and the current application, a number of revisions have been taken place. The flat roof has been changed to a pitched roof. The front yard setback has increased. The GFA has been decreased somewhat. It's a somewhat smaller dwelling. The garage will be removed, so additional open space, and that space will just be devoted to open air, landscape open space in the backyard. There was in April 6 variances, and now there are only 3 variances. And what I can tell you is variance number 1 to the setback is the existing north setback. And the addition of the floor with the same setback, there are no additional openings being created on this. In variance number 2, it also, I should say, my apologies. Variance number 1 relates to the front setback. I apologize. And it is an existing situation. The 4.06 meters goes to the existing front wall of the second floor of the dwelling. So that's an existing situation. Variance number 2 is also the existing north setback, and no additional openings are being made. And just to be clear, this is a 2,127 square foot house. It's 3 bedrooms. It is 10 meters long. So this, by no stretch of the imagination, is a large house. It's not large for the area. There are a number of lots on the street and in the area with an FSI of similar dimensions. I've read the letters of objections. The owners, Nicole and Dominic, have gone out and spoken to some of the people who were objecting, particularly on, I believe it's the street to the north. And we understand that they now have a better understanding of the application, and we'll let them speak for themselves, but we don't think they object any longer, but they will speak for themselves. There are 5 letters of support, including the neighbor to the north, who was previously objecting, and to the south, who was always in supportive. We are fine with community planning's condition on the privacy screen, and there's been no letter of objection at all from the local councillor. So what I would suggest to committee at this point is the process has worked in terms of garnering support from the immediate neighbors and satisfying their their specific concerns by pulling back the terrace, which is not a variance, but it was a concern of overlook from the neighbor, and putting in the opaque screen, which the owner is entirely agreeable to. In my opinion, all 4 tests of Section 45(1) of the Planning Act have now been satisfied, and we request the committee to support this application. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Question, Mr. Granestein.
Yes, Mr. Applicant, I'm not sure whether I misheard, but the variance number 1 says the altered dwelling will be located 4.8 meters from the front east lot line. I believe you said 4.06 meters. Tell us which one is correct?
4.08.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we have someone standing by. Let's have the registered speaker join us, please.
Soren, you've been unmuted.
Yep, thank you.
State your name, please.
Here, yep, his name is Soren Rasmussen. I live at 15 Selwood Avenue, which is just around the corner from this building. I had written after we received this notice here, the public hearing notice. I'd submitted my letter in opposition of this project, mostly because of the increased size of the square footage of this home. I thought that it would actually set a bad precedence for the area. This is a nice little beach community with a lot of smaller houses. But now I've since learned that there's actually a number of houses in the area that have already been approved to exceed the square footage index there from 0.6 up to 1. And so this bad precedence that I thought this construction or this project would set, it appears that has already been set a number of times by other houses in the area. And with that in mind, I don't think I can actually oppose this particular project. I think it would only be fair that the owners of this house are allowed to do the same variations that other people have been allowed to do before them. So I'm still curious. In my letter, I had kind of asked, what's the limit, or why are we just allowing all these deviations from the bylaws? But that's more a question for the committee. In regards to this particular project, I'd actually like to retract my opposition. So that's all I've got for now.
Well, thank you very much. Thanks for standing by and letting us know that. Your research obviously has given you a different perspective on it, and for that we're grateful. And I don't really think that the agent needs to comment particularly, because you have withdrawn your concerns. So thank you, though, for standing by and waiting and giving us your comments.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Panel members, there we are. Is no one else standing by, moderator? Only speaker? Yeah, okay. Okay, then. So let's go back to the agent. Just agent, anything you wish to say?
No, members of committee. I think I can say that the garage has already been taken down, so it can be repatriated as open space in the backyard. And this is really quite using the existing footprint of the house, the short building depth of 10 meters, fully compliant with height, landscape open space. I think that and really acknowledging both the existing front yard setback and the north side yard setback, together with the agreement to the position of the terrace, together with the privacy screens. I think this process has been very successful.
Thank you. Okay. Ms. Chan, question for the...
Yes, a quick one. Do you know the existing FSI?
I'm sorry, Ms. Chen, I can't hear you. I'm sorry. Could you speak closer to your microphone?
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now? Okay.
Perfectly well. Thank you so much.
All right. Sorry, yeah, because we can hear ourselves very well, so sometimes we forget. Okay. My question is, do you know the existing FSI? Just because the opposition, the other speaker was a bit concerned the increase in size. So I just like to know how much you increased from.
I can take a look at the statistics if you could just give me 1 second. Oh, there it is. The third floor that they're adding is 57.18 square meters. So if you want me to add that, I'm just looking for my calculator.
5160.
I don't have my calculator with me for some reason, but we're adding 57.18 square meters. So the total will be 197. So today we are about 137 square meters.
Yes, that's why I want, the concern is that they think it's a big increase. Actually, you're not even, you're already beyond the 0.6 times anyway, the existing one, yeah. Okay, that's all.
Thank you.
Okay. I think we're ready to take this application into committee. Anyone ready with a motion? Mr. Byatt, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. I think this is a very reasonable application that's before us. One concern that I had has already been addressed by both the applicant and, of course, planning, and that had to do with the privacy screening on the rooftop terraces. I don't believe there are any, there's a Forestry 2 condition and a planning condition which has largely been met, or according to the drawings, they've been met. So I'd like to move approval of this application.
Subject to those conditions, right?
Conditions, Forestry 2 and planning.
Very good. Second to that, Mr. Granitstein. Moved and seconded to approve. Those in favor, please show of hands. That vote carries the motion unanimously, and the application is approved. Thank you. Number 14 is 1170 Queen Street East. We're looking at the material submitted application time, 3 photographs of the property, cover letter from the agent, May 25, and we have email correspondence from City Planning, July 28. Let's have the agent join us, please, by stating your name.
Good afternoon. It's Rival Ukivi. I'm the agent for 1170 Queen Street East, Inc., or Limited, sorry.
Good afternoon. Okay. Panel members, any questions here for the applicant? Okay. Is anyone ready with a motion? Mr. Granitstein, go ahead.
Yep. I move the application be approved without condition.
Thank you. Does that have a second? It is seconded, Mr. Byatt. Moved and seconded. Approval without condition. Those in favor? Application, or motion carries, application approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Number 15, 224 River Street. We have the application materials, 6 photographs of trees, presentation materials 1st of August from the agent. There are 9 form letters in support, 214, 218, 220, 222 River, and 3 Sword Street. Also from 21 Sword, 212 River, and 15 Dyer Lane. In interest or concern, there is correspondence from 218 River Street. And let me ask you, moderator, is someone standing by?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I have the agent and the person in concern on standby.
Very good. Okay. Let's go to the agent. Agent, join us, please, by stating your name.
Good afternoon, committee members. My name is George Silva from Design Distillery, located at 90 Power Street, Unit 2. I'm the architect and agent for the owner.
Very good. Good afternoon. You have 5 minutes to present your proposal to the panel.
All right. If we could get the supporting material package up, that would be great. Today we're asking for a minor variance to the floor space index of 1.31. We're asking, can you flip to page number 2? So we're asking for this variance to convert the existing attic space into habitable space. and construct a rear third-story balcony entirely within the existing roof line. We believe this variance is minor in nature and within keeping with the neighborhood, and well below the FSI variances granted in the same zone, as you can see on this slide number 2. As there are some that are nearing 2 times the lot area, so we really do feel this is minor in nature, specifically for this zone. If we scroll down, we've got lots of examples there as well, which build the map previous to that. And to slide number 4, in fact, we have an example 3 doors down, number 218, that has a FSI variance that was granted of 1.5. And that's within the same row of row houses and very similar to the proposal that we're making for today. We believe that we are within keeping with the character of the neighborhood as well by our minimal intervention that stays within the envelope of the existing building. At the time of submitting the supporting material, we had initially 6 letters of support. If you go down to slide number 5, we initially had the 6 letters of support. Since then, we've actually received several more, up to 4 neighbors, and one of which was an additional neighbor in that same row of row houses. And essentially in summary, we believe that our proposal is a very modest proposal for the area, and that it meets the four tests and should be approved. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Okay, we have someone standing by in concern. Let's go to that person and ask that person to join us, please, by stating your name.
Diane Chasson, you have been unmuted.
Hello?
Good morning. Could you state your name, please?
Oh, good morning. I thought it was not working. It is.
You are with the panel now and ready to go. I'll ask you to state your name, please.
My name is Diane Chasson.
Very good. You have 5 minutes to address your concerns to the panel.
Oh, I really want these owners, Anne and Damien, to have this attic for sure. I have no problem with this. I had mine with a lot of problems for many years with the surrounding neighbors, but I think they changed their mind about this attic situation today. And my only concern is when I did mine, I had hired an engineer and an architect both. And at the beginning, I was just an architect, and then quickly the city or maybe the architect said, you should have an engineer. And I did hire an engineer, and I thought it was the best thing because this fellow was excellent to start with. And mention a few things that the architect was kind of surprised to do, because I was in the center of this row at 218, and there were about 100 trusses, and by the time you remove all of them, there was a support issue with the roof, and it needed to be supported. Otherwise, it's like a deck of cards, you know. You could sway on the left or on the right and then, have major problems. So he did, manage to have these custom-made steel columns that went from the roof to the base of the cement on each side of the walls. So I got 4 of these. And then they brought in the super heavy beam. I don't know, it was a lot of work. I remember it was also a lot of money, but it turned out to be very strong. I mean, when it was finished, the inspector came in and he said, holy Madonna, for a small woman, you did a lot of work. We could put 3 elephants on this attic because it was very well built. So my concern, and I'm sure that Anne thought about all of these issues and their architect, that maybe they have to have an engineer on site. That's all my concern about it, so that it's safe for them and also for all the neighbors.
Well, we can go back to the applicant agent and let them respond to your concern. Thank you very much.
Okay. You're welcome.
Thank you. Agent.
Hi, thank you, Diane, for that. Yes, we are the architect for this project for Anne, and we have already retained structural engineer and are about to also retain a mechanical engineer as the normal course of action in prior to submitting and applying for permits and everything like that. So we are on a path towards a successful build, and we'd just like to thank you for your concern.
Okay, thank you. Panel members, any questions for the panel or for the agent from you? In that case, I think we can take the application into committee. Mr. Granitstein, go ahead.
Yes, I move the application be approved without conditions.
Thank you. Seconded, Mr. Byatt. Moved and seconded, approval without condition. All in favor, please. Motion carries. Application is so approved. Thank you. Number 16. (13) Musgrave Street. We're looking at the application materials. There are 4 photographs of trees, and there is a 2020 Committee of Adjustment decision which affected the property. And we have commenting reports from Transportation Services, August the 2nd. And we shall ask the agent to join us, please, by stating your name.
Good morning,
Good morning.
Chair Committee and board members. My name is Edward Begay, and I'm the agent for the application for 13 Musgrave Street.
Very good. Good morning to you. Panel members, do you have questions for this agent? Mr. Granitstein, go ahead.
Yes, what is the current use of the building, sir?
It's not in use actually, but it's commercial.
Thank you.
Any further questions? No? In that case, we can take the application into committee for a motion. Mr. Byatt, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. I think this is a very reasonable application, despite the fact that there's so many variances. It is a commercial use facility. It looks like it may have been something to do with automotive in the past. So the fact that it's empty right now and will be redeveloped, I think, is a very good indication of improvement. So I don't believe there are any, there aren't any conditions at all, so I move to approve without any conditions.
That is seconded by Ms. Chan. Moved and seconded to approve. All in favor, please. In favor? Thank you. Motion carries, and the application is approved.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I'm the owner of the 15 Musgrave.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Very good. I'm sorry, I didn't realize you were in the room. My apology to you.
I was here to observe.
I'm sorry, you didn't want to speak.
No, it's okay. Thank you very much.
There you go. Thank you very much. Pardon me. Okay. 17, 106 Babby Point Road. Committee has before it plans submitted at the time of application, revised plans August 1st, redlined zoning notice August 1st.
Are you reading this right?
There are two previous Committee of Adjustment decisions from 2020 and 2022, and there is an arborist report, May 31st. We have comment from Urban Design Heritage Planning and from Urban Design Heritage Planning again, August the 3rd, both the 2nd and 3rd. And there is opposition correspondence from 104 Babby Point, which would appear to be the house or property next door. So, let's have the agent join us, please, by stating your name.
Good afternoon. My name is Dan Hornibrook. I'll be speaking to this application.
Good afternoon. Okay, panel members. Questions for Mr. Hornibrook? Okay, Mr. Hornibrook, I understand you want to alter according to, do you wish to alter according to the red line zoning notice?
I believe so. We're looking to go into the regulated area. Yes, now you've got it up there. Yes, that's what we're looking to do. What the red line notice there.
Okay,
we're looking to extend.
Let's just do that formally now so that we have it captured in the actual notice that the panel is going to be voting on.
Understood. You're looking for me to speak towards this now?
No, I'm just pulling up the file. Give me
No worries.
Give me a second here. Okay, so we just have the single variance proposed, and I'll ask you now how you would like to amend that.
What we're looking, we were previously granted an extension into the ravine, the regulated area of 2.87. We want to extend into that same area to the 3 meter mark, the area that it shows. The reason for that was simply, I know there's a letter that went in by one of the neighbors, the neighbor to the one side, that kind of indicated that we're just moving forward and changing plans without consideration. Nothing could be further from the truth. The original plan did show a smaller deck that was 0.87 into the regulated area with a patio, call it a flagstone patio, if you will, along the ground that would have, which is what our original plan showed in the original, what we were looking to do. This was refused. We were caught by surprise, but we're dealing with many agencies with respect to this property. I mean, I think you can see we're dealing with the RNFP, which is the Ravine and Natural Feature Protection, Urban Design Heritage Planning, the TRCA, various, various agencies. And we were told that they would not accept a patio on the ground, if you will, because of disturbances and the change of grade, and there's a large tree, and the TRC. Nobody would allow that, and we have in writing from.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't need all of that background. But what I want to establish right now is that you are amending. You wish to amend the application, the one variance, and you want it amended to read, as I understand it, 3.0 meters where it now reads 0.87 meters.
Correct.
Correct. Let's see if there are questions for you from the panel.
Sorry, through you, Mr. Chair, is there also an amendment to the purpose of application? And that's
No.
to the agent, no?
Okay. A quick.
There's no change to the purpose. We're just confirming that, correct?
No change to the purpose. It was going to be,
Okay,
outdoor space.
that's
and
fine.
it continues
No,
to be.
that's all I gotta know. All right, Ms. Chen, question.
Just a quick question. Is this change reflected on the revised plans?
Yes, it is.
Okay, that's all I want to know. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, so the revised plan that we're dealing with August the 1st shows that 3.0 meter measurement.
Correct.
Very good, okay.
Sorry, through you, Mr. Chair. The purpose of application states to alter the existing 1 1/2 story dwelling. Is this not a 2-story dwelling?
It's actually a 3-story dwelling, and that was the subject of an original application that was granted a couple of years ago, I think. The home is built. This is, I know it's confusing. The home is built and completed. We're dealing only with the deck. So it is a 3-story home, to be clear.
Well, then we should amend the application to read that.
Or through you, Mr. Chair, we may just want to have it just to permit a rear ground floor deck.
Aha.
Okay.
Yes, the other was, the house has been, there's been a final inspection. Everything has been dealt with the exception of the deck.
So could it read to alter the existing dwelling?
No,
Through
it
you,
should.
Mr. Chair, I think it would just be to permit a rear ground floor deck.
Okay, fine. There we go. There we go. That's the wording that we'll work with. So we now have an amended application before us. And panel members, if you have further questions, Ms. Chan first, Mr. Byatt second.
No, I
No?
don't
Oh,
have any.
you're ready for a motion?
Just a question, Mr. Chair, this with
Go ahead.
regard to the, deck at the rear. I wonder if there's overlook issues on the east and west sides that neighbors may be concerned about. I don't see a 1.5 meter height screening. Just wondering if if it's going to be an issue, that perhaps that's something that could be a condition attached to this particular application.
There is no oversight. In fact, between 104 and 106, there is a screen has been put in place. There's no viewing of their house, if you will, or their deck. In fact, their deck extends further into the rear yard than what our deck does. And there's a large structure in the way I cannot see their house or a window from the current, from where this deck will be completed. And it's 50 feet away from the house, I guess, number 108. There's no overlook issues whatsoever.
Thank you. That's great. Thank you.
Okay, if there are no further questions, let's move it into committee for a motion.
Yeah, with the amended purpose clause and also amended variance, I think this is reasonable, and then they make the situation better. And with the overlook, actually, is set back from the property on the right, and then it's much further from the property on the left. So I don't think there's an overlook. So I move for approval with the amended purpose clause.
The amended application.
Application,
Okay.
yeah.
Very good. That is seconded, Mr. Granstein. So moved and seconded to approve the amended application. Those in favor, please show hands. That vote is carried, unanimous vote, and the amended application is approved. Thank you. Number 18. (206 to 208) Bartlett Avenue. On this application, we have the materials submitted, time of application, 2 photographs. There is a previous Committee of Adjustment decision affecting the property. We also have revised site plan, revised cover letter from the agent, and revised zoning notice, all from August. There was comment from Transportation Services, and there is correspondence in support from a number of persons with no address provided. Also, from 154 Walmer, 170 Margarita, 217 Atlas, 686 Gladstone, 510 King East, 169 King East, 332 Gladstone, and 1317 A Davenport, and 556 Gladstone. So, let's ask the agent to join us, please.
Hello, my name is Mark Roszkowski. I am the architect on the project.
You have 5 minutes, sir, to present your application to the panel. Go ahead, please.
Thank you. This project, we're increasing the building from 4 units, residential unit, to 10 units. It's located on the corner of Hallam and Bartlett. Hallam has a feeling of very avenue-like street, but traffic is controlled by a lot of speed bumps virtually on every corner. We work very hard with the planner, Kirk Hatcher, in the area. And initially we applied for four stories, but then planner persuaded us that it will not be permitted, so we went to 3 stories, so we are fully height compliant right now. Also, there is no objection from transportation. I don't see any condition for urban forestry. I know there's a lot of letters of support. Unsolicited, we don't even know those people. There are some objections. We work with those to resolve the immediate neighbor's objection. So we met 3 times, I think, with the neighbor to the south, number 204 Bartlett, and we resolved all the issues, which was basically, I think the drawings that you have right now on the display is old drawings. We also have updated drawings. Can you put it up? Because they objected to those projecting forward, as you see, the darker brick staircases on both sides. So we moved them in increasing the, yes, that's correct. So we increased the setbacks, front setbacks and rear setbacks. And they also had some issues as far as the landscaping, the screen, privacy screens. And then as we said, we resolve all of that one by one, so they are happy right now with the design. As far as the other immediate neighbor, which is 215 Hallam, in his letter, he was objecting that the garage is somehow increasing on his property, but we are actually removing the garage or demolishing the garage. Actually, if you can see on the survey, which is the last sheet, you can see that the existing garage actually didn't encroach on his property. A few more. Yeah, it was right on the property line. But right now we're demolishing it anyway. Okay, as far as the specific variances that we're asking for, so floor space index, we managed to squeeze it below 2. So there's a lot of buildings on Hallam that have a much more floor space index that allowed 0.6. Front yard setbacks we increased to 2.12 meters, which is much more than other on the stretch of Hallam, which basically have a front setback 0. And we have almost over 7 feet. Rear yard setback is almost at the allowable 7.5 meters. So right now we have a 6.43 meters, which we increased to accommodate the neighbors to the south. Side yard setback, most of the buildings at Hallam have a 0 side yard setback. And then if you can see that the last building is actually encroaching on this property line. Landscaping, I think because we were in such a hurry because Monday was the holiday, so we had to submit revised drawings on Tuesday. So I think the zoning guy made a mistake because we actually, if you can go on the first page of the drawing, we have 44 meters, 44.8 meters. First page, you can go.
I shall ask you to make your summary comments now, please.
I mean?
I shall ask you to make your summary.
Actually, as far as the landscaping, we have almost, which is much more that it is in the zoning letter, but I can address later on during the question period. Visitors parking, we providing one visitor parking, which is nobody that I know of provides a visitors parking on Halam on this stretch. And the transportation, as I said, had no issues.
Thank you very much. Okay, thank you. Question at this stage, Ms. We have a lot of speakers in opposition.
Oh,
Do you
okay,
wanna-
just to remind, Mr. Chairman, because there's some late material came as supplemental materials. I think there's a revised set of plans and also a revised zoning notice. I don't think maybe it's useful later to go through whether there will be changes on the notice.
These are the revised plans from the 4th of
And the
August.
Yeah, I think we have received some supplemental material just.
Yes, we submit on
Through you, Mr. Chair,
yesterday.
it might actually be beneficial if the applicant can walk through
I think so.
the revisions before we hear from the opposition.
I think so, yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Chen. Okay. Okay, applicant.
Yes.
So you submitted, or revised plans were submitted on the 4th of August.
Yes.
What we're going to do now is, for the record, I want to ensure that the public notice that the panel is going to be voting on reflects those revised plans of the 4th of August, which you submitted.
Yes.
So there are, so I don't want any explanation or reasoning for it. I simply want to deal with the numbers. So, for example, right now, variance number 1 reads, the new building will have a depth of 18.56 meters. Does that change, or does that stay the same?
18.56 was the previous. The revised drawing have a building depth 17.03. So all.
No, don't explain. No, I just want the numbers. So 18.56 is reduced to 17.03.
Got it. Yeah, correct.
We're now going to variance number 2.
Floor space index. It used to be 2.09.
Correct.
Right now it's 1.99.
1.99 is the amended figure at your request. Variance number 3.
No. It's number 6 in the zoning letter.
We need
Oh, okay. So you have different numbers here. But the next one is residential category zone. The front yard setback to the north is supposed to be 0.6. It is 0. Wait a minute. Front yard setbacks. No, to the east, it used to be 0.6, but right now it's 2.12 meters. 2.6 meters?
Becomes 2.12. That's the correct number.
Yeah, from about 2 feet to about.
Please
7.
don't explain. No, we're just dealing with the numbers here for clarity, for the record.
Okay. Rear yard setback. Minimum rear yard setback.
Excuse me, just let me go through these and follow me, okay? You just follow me through these.
Yeah.
I'm now dealing with minor variance number 4 on the public notice. And it reads, the new building will be located 4.9 meters from the rear west.
Yes.
What should that read? Does that change?
Yes, it changed to 6.43. You can see it on the drawings too.
6.13?
No, 6.43.
6.43. 6. Say again, please, Agent.
.43.
6.43, okay.
Got it.
Okay, now I am moving along to
Yes.
minor variance number 5. And I'm going to tell you what it reads now. Right now it reads the new building will be located 0 meters from the side north lot line. Do you wish to alter that?
This one is not changing, also 0 meters on
It
north.
remains the same.
Yes.
Let's go now to minor variance number 6. Minor variance number 6 reads in this case 13.
The landscape.
Let me finish. It reads in this case 13%, 33.6 meters square of the lot area will be maintained as landscaping. Does that change?
This change, I think the zoning guy just kept the old one, but if you can see the drawings, you can see that we are providing 44.8 square meters, which is for the point A, 34.5%, and for point B, it gives you about 69%.
You have confused me. Slow down. Let's go backwards. Okay. On this one, you can change it. I want you to just give me 2 numbers. What does the 13% change to? 13% should change.
13% change to 34.5%.
Stop there. 34.5. Okay. Yes. 34.5% is the amended number. And the square meterage is?
Square meters is 44.8 square meters.
44.8?
Yes.
44.8 meters squared.
Landscaping area, yes.
Okay. All right then. So we've amended the application now to be in line with the revised drawings.
Yes.
No.
Pardon me?
We still have variances number 7 and 8 we haven't dealt with.
I beg your pardon. Thank you.
And I think you missed number 4, you've confused 3 and 4. But it's okay, go ahead.
Wait a second, 7 and 8. Okay, oh, here we are, okay. Wait a second.
Now it's
There
number
they are,
7.
okay. Okay, now we're on minor variance number 7, which reads now, in this case, 25%.
Yes.
Of the required landscaping.
And then the percent is now 69.
69.
Yes.
And what is the new square meters?
Oh, this is also 44.8 square meters. However, this is soft landscaping, which should be 50% of the landscaping. So it's like half less, double that. Okay.
Excuse me, we're just dealing with the simple numbers here. So the 25% changes to 69, and the 32.5 meters squared changes to 44.8. Is that correct?
Correct.
Let's go to number 8, minor variance now.
Sorry, the 69, there won't be a variance.
Two visitors
You
parking.
need a minimum of 50%.
Okay, so do you realize what's happened on number 7 now, applicant? Because you're up at 69%, the variance is no longer required because the bylaw only requires 50%.
No, but it doesn't make sense because he said the square meters is 44.8 and the 50% is 64.82 square.
So it's not variance anymore, yes.
So number 7 is a...
69%.
Through you, Mr. Chair. Okay, go.
Sorry,
go
I just said maybe we suggest him to go and work out all the figures.
Well,
and then come back.
we're at 7 out of 8. Let's keep on going, but number 7 is certainly a problem.
Through you, Mr. Chair, if we're confused, those residents that are here in person to speak on this application as well as virtually are also going to be confused. Right? There seems to be a lot of changes. Perhaps maybe.
I think it's a case you're right. This application has been so substantially revised that, as you can see, we're struggling to understand the revision. We understand you're trying to improve it, but we're having trouble getting the detail. So neighbors and others that are interested in the application are also likely to be confused. So, panel members, consider whether we should take this application and defer it to be reconstituted per the revisions of August the 4th, which neighbors won't be aware of. Yes, okay. Okay. So I'm going to ask, so just with that in mind, I'm going to ask, is Brian Rembach in the group among you? Brian Rembach? Oh, okay, okay. Are any of you registered? Yes. Would you come forward, please? Would you come forward, please? Yes. Any of you that are registered to speak, please come forward. So I know you gentlemen have been waiting patiently here, and we thank you for coming. Here's where we're at. You can see where we're at. We're struggling with this. And I know my panel colleagues and I, none of us want to vote on a confusing application. That's the last. We're trying to get clarity. So I understand that you're concerned about the application. What I want to ask you is this. If we were to not approve or refuse this application right now, but rather defer it so that it could be reconstituted, I can tell by these numbers that the applicant is trying to make it less onerous with these changes. But nobody's aware. It was all done so late. So would you be at ease if the panel was to defer the application, to have it reconstituted and redistributed to the public? You would go for that?
Yes, defer it. But I have one question as to...
Sorry, sir. Can you please state your first and last name and your address?
Okay, my name is Ralph Capriotti. It's 215 Hallam Street, and that's the property on the west side.
Okay, I see you here, Ralph. Go ahead.
Okay. Now, when he says the garage and that, I submitted a plan that was done in the 70s, and there is encroachment on my property, and he hasn't explained is it going to be open there? It can't be open because it's my private driveway, my private yard. He's going to have to build a tall fence and put it right back in the property line. I don't see any surveyor's marks or anything else. First of all, and second, the balcony.
Ralph, I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there right now.
Okay.
I know you've waited a long time, and I appreciate that.
He says we agree with it.
Okay.
He just told me he's going to tear down the garage. We already know that, but what's he going to do after he tears down the garage?
I understand.
You know, and all these numbers are and all these people that are objecting.
There's a lot of people
miles away.
Yeah.
They all have some skin in the game.
That are objecting or that are in support.
Can I address the?
Just a moment, please.
Through you, Mr. Chair.
I'm coming
We're
to you.
going to have one speaker at a time.
Yeah, that's fine.
And what's on the floor of committee at this time is a deferral. Are you in favor of the deferral, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Okay.
Now we will move on to the next speaker.
Very good. So we're going to ask the next speaker to join us. State your name.
Okay.
And as...
Dale Rich, I live at number 2866 Bloor Street West.
Okay, Dale, I see your name here. You're a registered speaker. Very good. I'm not going to ask you to go into your concerns about the application.
No, I'd like to...
What we're dealing with right now
is deferral. Right.
So I'm going to ask you if you would go along with the idea of deferral in order that we can all gain some clarity on this application.
I think this applicant is acting in a very unprofessional way.
Would you be okay with a deferral?
They're making on-the-fly amendments.
Yeah.
There
It's
could very well be more amendments coming forward.
It's too substantially revised to go ahead with. Yeah, it is.
What the local residents would like to know is what is on the table, and we really don't know. So I would speak in favor of deferral.
Thank you.
By the way, I would like to bring to the committee's attention the fact that there is a Part 2 plan for the area that was, I believe, adopted by the city back in the 80s. And it's something you might want to familiarize yourself with.
Thank you.
It speaks directly to many of these variances.
Thank you very much, Dale.
Thank you.
Okay.
So, sorry, there's one gentleman in the back. Would you like to speak or just observing? Okay, thank you. So now we're going to move on to those that are virtual.
Brian,
Okay.
Brian Rembach, you have been unmuted.
Yes, thank you. Hi, I'm Brian Rembach from 204 Bartlett, the next door neighbor south of this property.
Brian, just so you know, I've only got one question for you. We're not going to get into the
Yes.
detail. My question is, would you be at ease with the idea of deferral?
I would prefer not to defer.
You'd rather we heard it this morning?
To me, just to give some clarity, it is moving back 1.5 meters on both the east and the west side, and that is it. So it's only those two changes that were proposed. I know that has an impact on landscaping, but those are the only two changes that were brought up to me.
I'm sorry, there are so many people registered to speak here in opposition that I can only hear your general comment. In your case, you would rather not defer, you'd rather hear it now. Thank you. Let's go to the next speaker standing by, please.
Deborah and Joe Walsh, you have been unmuted.
Good morning.
Good morning.
State your name, please.
My name is Joe Walsh. I'm
Mr.
at
Wa-
759 Gladstone Ave.
Very good, Mr. Walsh. I have just one question for you, and you can see, if you've been watching, you can see that the applicant wishes to substantially revise the application. In doing so, it has created a lack of clarity as to what exactly the application looks like. So my only question for you is, if you would be at ease with the idea of deferring the application so it can be reconstituted and redistributed to the public? Or would you rather that was heard this morning?
No, it needs to be deferred.
Thank you. Next, standing by.
Thomas Woodhall, you have been unmuted.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes. State your name, please.
Tom Woodhall, 264 Westmoreland Avenue.
Okay, good afternoon, Tom. Okay, Tom, one question for you. Panel is now considering deferring the application in order that substantial revisions can be incorporated into it and it can be redistributed to the public. Would you be at ease with that idea, or would you rather that we heard the application now and decided on it now?
I think a deferral is completely reasonable.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. I believe that wraps up the list of those standing by.
Through you, Mr. Chair, the other persons on the registered speakers list were only observing, so they were not looking to speak to the item.
Right, okay. Okay, then. So thank you again to those that came in person to speak, and thank you for your comments. Panel members, I think we can take this one into committee now to discuss our options and what would be best in the interest of clarity going forward. So we're in committee now. Any comments? Ms. Chan, go ahead.
Yeah, I can make my comment. I think that it started off just changing something, but it started, and then it ended up that it gets quite confused. And also, my worry is that he himself stated that some of the drawings do not reflect these changes anyway. So, and we don't have time to actually verify or to read it, whether it's just too many changes to almost most of the variances. I'm not ready to make decision on it myself. But one advice that I hear all these deputants, they are very concerned with the proposal. Maybe this is, if we're going to defer it, maybe the applicant should go to the neighbors and really sit down with them and explain to them your proposal. Then we'll have, we'll see you again.
Makes sense. Any other comments or anyone ready with the motion?
I will make a motion to defer this applicant,
Thank
this
you.
application.
And your motion is seconded by Mr. Byatt. Moved and seconded, therefore, to defer, in order that we can get clarity on the nature of the variances proposed and to allow the applicant an opportunity to speak with neighbors. All in favor? Please show hands. Thank you. That motion is carried. The application is deferred. Number 19 is (173) Northcliffe Boulevard. On this application, we're looking at the material submitted time of application. There are revised site plans from the 1st of August. There's a cover letter from the agent, August 1st. There's an arborist report and a tree protection plan. There's comment from community planning. Correspondence in concern, 175 Northcliffe. Correspondence in opposition, 242 Lauder, 240 Lauder, and from an address, from a party without an address shown. Okay, so let's have the agent join us, please, by stating your names.
Hello, good afternoon, Chairman and committee members. My name is Eddie Perez. I'm designer, and here on behalf of the owner, we're proposing a garden suite at the rear. And as per the variances, I spoke to my client, and the variance for the height were 6 meters. We've agreed that we can bring that down to 5.30 meters high.
Okay, just, let's go slowly then, Mr. Perez. We'll go slowly, and we'll capture these changes.
Yeah.
And see if it's amended. Are you amending it dramatically or just in a small way?
Well, it's 70 centimeters lower than what's on the notice, from 6 meters to 5.3 meters.
Which variance is that?
That would be variance number 4.
And is that the only change you're making?
And then when we did the angle on the one side, as per planning request, that brought down the GFA, the number 10 down a little bit, slightly.
Okay, we have
So,
Mr. Perez?
Number 10.
I want, we're going to be changing, you want to amend the application.
Correct.
And we'll see what it amounts to, but we need to be dealing with the public notice. So I'm going to go slowly with you. First of all, let me ask you, how many of your proposed 10 variances are you changing?
We're only changing the last one and number 4.
Okay, so let's go to number 4 first. Right
And
now it reads 5.26 meters. What are you changing that figure to?
And number 9 as well, sorry. Number 9 to 6 meters as well, sorry.
Okay, bear with me. We're on number 4 now.
Yeah, number 4, there won't be any change to number 4.
Number 4 remains the same, so we're dealing with number 9.
Yeah, correct.
What is the new number there? What is the new height?
From the new height from 6 meters will be 5.30 meters.
5.30. Thank you. And number 10?
Number 10 is to be 42.58%. The square meters is 40.78.
40.78.
Correct.
Okay, so those are relatively, they're significant, but they're relatively minor in terms of the overall application. So we don't have a dramatically revised application here.
I think.
Well, in the height itself, we're dramatically going down 70 centimeters. And we're doing that because of the concerns of the neighbors. And a lot of these variances come in because of the rear yard. The one-story addition is 5.26 meters away.
Just a second, I have something I want to listen to my colleague.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think, Mr. Perez, you want to change variance number 4, because you talk about the height of the ancillary building being 6 meters. Don't you want that to be 5.03 meters?
Yeah, I said, I had said that at the beginning. That one's changing to 5.3 as well, correct?
You said that, and then you said no change to 4.
Okay.
Oh, no. Well, I thought.
Thank you, Mr. Granitstein. So it's important we catch that.
Thanks for picking that up. Sorry about that.
So 5.26 changes to 5.3.
No.
No, it's
Can't-
just the
can't do
6
that.
meters at the end of variance number 4.
That's the distance.
Okay. Okay, the final 6 meters changes to 5.3, it reduces, okay. Very good. Okay then, moderator, do we have persons standing by in opposition here?
Yes.
We do. Okay, Mr. Perez, we've taken a long time already, a little bit of time here, but I'm going to give you your 5 minutes to go ahead and present your application, so please proceed.
Okay, so as like I was speaking earlier, we were in contact with the planning and we've gone back and forth. And I explained to her about the rear yard addition, which is 5.26 meters away, but most of the house is more than 7.5. Just that one-story rear addition is less, so that's what's kicking in a lot of these variances and makes the height go from 4 meters to 6 to the 5.6 and the 6 meters. All that difference in heights is because of that little addition. And so as per planning's request, we did like a little dormer on a 45-degree angle plane on that area. We now have the angle plane for that one side, and the other side remained the same. If you put it on the second floor plan, if we start doing all these angular planes on the other sides and that, there won't be much of a garden suite left. The rooms are very small, and as you can see, it's only 9'8", the bedroom by 10'5", and the kitchen living area, which is very minimal as well. And we feel that this is a good project for this area because you got nice TTC right beside, you got subway close by, it's in walking distance to everything, and this would be a good development for this area and for the city. So that's all I have to say for now, and I'll hear what the neighbors have to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, through you,
You're
Mr.
welcome.
Chair. I just need some, I missed variance number 10. I missed the change.
He did not make changes on that one.
No changes on 10?
He changed to 9.
Yeah, I changed 9. I thought he changed 10 too.
In the beginning, he said 10, but he sort of missed that.
Oh, okay. No changes on 10?
But actually, I do.
Okay. Thank
Yeah,
you.
there was change on 10.
Okay. Can you tell us what it is?
Yeah, 10 was 42.58%,
Oh,
and it was 40.78 square meters.
40?
0.78.
40.78 square meters.
Okay.
40.78.
I have a question, actually. I do have a question, just clarification. You're talking about the angular, the 45 angular plane. You said you eliminate, which one did you eliminate? Because you have 3 there, 6, variance 6, 7, 8, all deal with the angular plane.
No, it didn't remove it because we only put it on partial of the wall. We put it on the area where the one-story addition is. If you put the front elevation where the garage is, we did that area in the middle. So that faces the one-story addition. So we did the angular plane only in that one area. But it doesn't take away the variance because we didn't do it on the whole wall.
Oh, okay, understand. That I got confused. I thought, yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're lowering the height by just doing it. We're gonna do a 7-foot high garage only, and that's gonna bring down the height significantly. So
Okay.
then we're gonna be that's where we're getting 5.3.
Thank you very much. Let's go now. We have someone standing by to speak, registered in opposition. And we'll have that person join us, please, by stating your name.
Christina Ronas, you have been unmuted.
Great. Hi, committee. Thank you for taking my call. Can you all hear me?
We do hear you, Christina, and you have 5 minutes to address your concerns to the panel. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. I am the resident directly to the rear of the proposed garden suite. And while I don't have an issue with the garden suite and its intention, I do have a problem with the height. It is not a dramatic change from 6 meters to 5.3 meters. I would really appreciate considering they are also requesting a 0 setback from the property line, that be amended to 4 meters in maximum, and also to allow for a setback which would potentially give rise to encroachment issues and safety concerns, as well as I have a child and I have children. And I also have a tree which the arborist did not note on his review. I did note that in my letter, if you can see that. And I also did provide pictures of the tree that is directly behind the existing garage. And without a setback, it would be damaged completely. But I'm more so concerned about the safety issue for my family and my pets as well, and would request alongside the setback of the 1.5, at least the 1.5 meter setback, I would request that a fence be, whether it be a temporary fence while construction is happening to alleviate any safety concerns, as well as then a permanent fence which would provide the privacy that was existing in the first place from the garage itself. The setbacks, it seems like they're requesting no setbacks from the rear and as well as from the sides. As you can see, there is only one setback, which is probably half of the setback requirement from the bylaw to one side, and then 0 to the other on the one side, and then 0 to the rear. So I'm extremely concerned that a towering building will be erected, and I face east, so it will minimize the sunlight by, a 4-foot structure that is set back would alleviate those concerns of mine and would allow for sunlight that my garden depends on. My garden is quite mature and has a lot of trees and grass, and so that is a concern for me as well as my family and my children. So I am concerned, as well as the neighbor at 242 is also concerned, and it would also give rise to creating large structures that really are contrary to what the bylaw is setting out, and is not really in favor of the community per se, because it's not in good faith in terms of what they're doing and what the purpose is. There's no objection to the garden suite itself. I am completely in favor of that, and I have no issues with that. And I'd like to see more of those to help alleviate some of the concerns for providing more shelter spaces and more housing. However, it is encroaching, and it is invading my privacy as well as my family's, my neighbors, and it's going to set a precedent in the neighborhood if we allow such a large structure that does not conform to the existing bylaws. The bylaws were put in place. This is not a minor variance in my view. It's not a minor variance in my neighbor's view, as well as down the street at 230 Lauder Avenue also agrees. So I'm not in favor of these no setbacks and the dramatic size of the structure. So it is really important to me to know that there is the setbacks of at least 1.5 meters from the rear, at least the required setbacks from the side, as well as some drainage, some landscaping, and a fence for safety, and as well as bringing down the height limitation, maximum.
I shall ask you to make your final comment now, please, your summary.
Okay, so basically it's the size of the building and the setbacks of concern and the safety regarding the fencing and protecting my family, as well as my space, my personal space in the backyard, which I use with my family.
Thank you. Let's see if there are questions for you. Panel members, any questions? Questions for the speaker? No, thank you very much. Okay, now we go back to the agent who will have an opportunity to comment on what has been stated there by the person in opposition. We'll ask the agent to confine comments to those issues raised by the person speaking in opposition. So let's have the agent join us again.
Hello, again, I was listening to what the neighbor had to say. I had spoken to my client, and she said any issue with trees or anything, or that she would accommodate them and take care of any losses or anything in that sense. So she'll put it in writing as well. Also, for when you do a laneway suite, they give you a 6.3, but because the way the distance is from the little addition, it makes these variances click in, and this is a unusual situation. But if you were to build a garage that is 4 meters high, we're asking 1.3 meters extra to accommodate a living space for somebody in need in the city, which is a good use. We can actually leave 30 centimeters from the rear. I can push it forward, and we'll leave the 1 foot and 30 centimeters, which is allowed for a 4 meter high garage.
Are you amending the application?
Because of what the neighbor is saying for the
That's
encroachment.
fine. Okay, let's
We
get
can
to-
do that. We can move it up a foot forward, leave a foot in the back, so 30
Let's
centimeters.
be very specific then. Which minor variance are you referring to? I assume you're going to change one of the minor variances or eliminate it. Tell me which one it is.
Mr. Chairman, sorry, can I answer, sir? Then you will affect the distance between the house and the garden suite.
Yeah.
It will affect if you move one thing, it may affect also the landscaping in between. I don't know, I'm not too sure.
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
very-
I think, so there's a concern about that. I think we'll just leave it the way it is to avoid changing a bunch of other factors too. Okay, panel members, your opportunity now to address questions to the applicant. And perhaps I'll begin. Applicant, I'm concerned about your application. You know, you say if you were to go by the bylaw, that it wouldn't be much of a garden suite. But the issue is that, you know, for example, your variance number 1, 27%, where 50% soft landscaping is required. It's because, remember, these are called garden suites for a reason. We're not trying to eliminate the gardens. They are garden suites for a reason. So I'm concerned about your soft landscaping, and I'm concerned that, in fact, the application may simply be overbilled. That it's too much garden suite.
Can I say something for a sec, please?
Go ahead.
Since I heard what the neighbor has to say, how about we defer it and I speak with the neighbor and I can make some changes and come before with you with the exact numbers for every item. And that way we don't have to come before you committee again. We can revise the drawings, and I'm willing to come back forward with a revised, which will come up with something different and to make the neighbors happy as well.
Right.
And we'll leave the more in the rear than what's there right now. Maybe I'll reduce the garden suite a touch, because the height
No,
itself.
I think, no, we're not going to do that now. We're not going to do that
No,
way.
that's what I'm saying, so I'm asking for a deferral, so I can do that and come with you with a.
You want to defer?
Drawing.
To
Yeah,
defer
correct.
to a future meeting?
Correct.
Okay. Are there any other questions for he's suggesting deferral here. Any other questions for the applicant?
But don't we need to talk to the opposition too about the deferral?
We can do that. I wanted to get a general sense from any of the panel too, if you're interested in the deferral.
I think that I'm not too sure how much a deferral can do, because as it is, I think it's very far away from the intent of the garden suite bylaw. Because at the moment, you have penetrated the 45 angular plane is almost on all sides. And also the garden suite bylaw is such a new bylaw, it's specifically try to eliminate this impact to the neighbors, right? So I think that, to me, I do not know how much they can change, but this is my opinion.
You'd rather deal with it now? You'd rather deal with?
I don't mind. I don't mind deferring it. Give them another chance. But I just try to express that when it's not a garden suite, it's not a garden suite. It's a garage, right?
Okay.
Yeah. What I can do is
Excuse me, applicant. I'm going to take this application into committee now for discussion on what we want to do here. Panel, I mean, I think I've said what I think this application is overbuilt. Does anybody else think we should vote on it now and refuse it, or should we defer it? Mr. Byatt?
Thank you, Chair. When I looked at this particular application, I mean, there's lots of flags. One of the flags was variance number 4, the distance between the main structure and the proposed structure, the garden suite. I think it's also quite a massification in the back. It's not a large lot, and I think the neighbor at the back as well will be looking at a fairly tall blank wall. So it's an application that I'm not comfortable with, and it's one that I don't think I can support.
Yeah. Any other comments, Don?
Yeah, I agree that as is, this is not a supportable application. What the applicant can do, because they've got to move from the rear lot line, they've got to put some space there. They are then run into the problem, as Ms. Chen said, they're going to be too close to the residential building. They also want to be higher than 4 meters. So all those, leaving aside the 45 degrees angular plane, all those cause problems. And if Mr. Perez can make this acceptable, I think he deserves a medal. But I'm not so sure he can. I don't want to deal with it today because let him have a chance. I think he should have a chance to work it out. But I'm pessimistic as to whether he's going to be able to do it. But I'm in favor of a deferral.
Okay, so where are we then on that issue? I don't think it can be made right. I think we have to send the message this is overbuilt and refuse it. So I'd say deal with it now and refuse it. Don says defer. Zahir is in favor of refusing. Yim, where would you like to go?
I had to express that I almost sided with Don, that give them a chance, but I also have the same view. It doesn't seem that the site can support a garden suite. But then on the other hand, people can do miracles. Maybe give them a chance to do it.
Okay, Yim, I need to know which it is, because here's the complication. If you go for a deferral, then I have to recuse because we'd be heading for a tie. So if you're going to go for refusal, then I can stay in. It doesn't matter to me whichever way, but there are some complications here. So I would need to recuse if you're in favor of deferral.
So we need a motion.
Okay. Well, the motion can't lead to a tie, though. So I think I better recuse. I'm going to recuse at this stage.
Don't recuse until you see what the motion is.
Okay, all right. Motion, please, then.
Thank you, Chair. I'll take a crack at this one, and I'd like to move a motion to refuse.
Okay. I am going to recuse.
Oh, just a minute. He has to have a seconder.
Oh, he does have a second. Pardon me, okay. Is there a second to that motion? The motion fails. We need another motion, please. Ms. Chan.
I would like to move a motion to defer this case so that the applicant can maybe make some revisions that will make the application more supportive.
Is there a second to that motion?
All right, and I say to what Yim said, and if he can't, they're not going to come back. So I second the motion.
Okay. So it is moved and seconded to defer. I am going to recuse, and I'll ask, though, for a vote. Those in favor of the motion, show of hands. 2 members. Those opposed, 1 member. The motion is carried. The application is deferred. And thank you, panel members, for sifting through that one with me. Number 20 we've already handled. it was closed. So with that, we do wrap up the morning session. It's now 1:10. Staff, can we carry on at 2 o'clock, or shall we go?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I think we'll do a full hour of lunch.
Okay, so we'll resume at 2:10 with the afternoon agenda.
Okay. Yes, I think. We can leave this. Oh, we leave the computer on? Oh, okay. It's funny, I have no concept of the time when you are in this wilderness. I thought that we are 9 o'clock in the morning.